Get this sports podcast party started, all right?
The J Reels Podcast.
Why don't you wait until July 1st to make an announcement? What a disgrace. He can rack up all these numbers in October, November, and December, but what really counts is let me see this in January.
The sports rebel without a pause, delivering fast-paced, jam-packed sports talk like no other.
Listen, I gotta call it as I see it. He is not a good player. I'm sick and tired of having to deal with the disappointment of this franchise. When does it stop? And yes, another winter that I can sleep in peace. Coming correct, direct, and in full effect. Let's get it.
This is the J Reels Podcast. Welcome aboard.
What is happening, my good people? Greetings. How are you? How's it going? How's everybody doing out there? What is the latest and greatest? Hope everybody's doing well, feeling fantastic, in excellent spirits. July has arrived and a sweltering heat wave here in the Northeast, which is what you're going to get into your earbuds, headphones, or speakers because, do I got a lot packing right about now, and it's about to come at you live, correct, direct, and in full effect as this is the J Reels Podcast with Joe's J Reels. For my first timers, welcome aboard. And for those who've been banging with me going back to the very beginning, somewhere in the middle, or even as early as this past Monday, I welcome you guys and gals back. Bio greetings. Yes, Mark Salmon's greetings as the room is starting to populate here. And for those who are listening on Apple or Spotify, I don't know if you hear the fan in the back. I have to leave a fan on because, as I mentioned, it's going to hit over 100 degrees in New York City. In the apartment, who knows, probably about 90 degrees. I don't have the air on. I'm sacrificing, but I don't care because my blood has been boiling since late yesterday afternoon, which I'll get into momentarily. And before I even get into that, I need to shout out my cousin, my blood, my former radio partner, JD, otherwise known as John David Valadares. Today he celebrates his 57th birthday. Johan Santana, John Smiley, Tom Jackson, Steve Howe. All number 57s that have been worn yesteryear by those aforementioned athletes. So I got to give him a shout out. Much love to you, bro. Happy birthday. Wishing you many, many more. And I actually did extend an invite to him if you wanted to join me here on the podcast, but I don't know if he's traveling or what have you. So it'll be a surprise if he does happen to hop on board. But that Sorry, I had a mic issue there for a second. I just had a notification. I believe I fixed it. But anyway, hopefully you can hear me loud and clear. So with that being said, I'm going to start off with the NBA. It's crazy to think that a free agent period and the NHL too, which I'll get to later on, pretty much should be named the NBA trade agency or trade frenzy, I should say, not free agency. Just goes to show you that my brain is cooked. But when you take a look at what has transpired over the last 2.5 days, and you think with a week or so ago, the Giannis trade, and we thought that there'd be some dominoes that were to fall, and especially the big domino after what happened about 10 days ago with Giannis going from Milwaukee to Miami and not to Boston. And obviously that's a big role here in what I'm about to say. It has been what? I don't know. 18 hours, 17 hours since the trade where Brad Stevens, I think he turned into David Stearns, the GM of the Mets, because for him to trade Jaylen Brown, not only to their bitter rival, a team that they lost to in the first round, up 3-1, the first time that the Celtic franchise has blown a 3-1 series lead. And the flip side, the Sixers, first time they ever came back from a 3-1 deficit. Where Stevens, I don't know if he was drunk, high, or both. And I hate to say that about the GM for the team that I root for because I'm still scratching my head 17 hours later. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't even want to understand. It is beyond belief to think that this GM, who for the most part has pushed all the right buttons when he left the coaching bench to get himself in a seat at the front office to be the VP of basketball ops for this organization. And some of the moves that he made yesterday, which I'll get into, and there's a million moves. A lot of free agents. I understand the trades is what I want to get into because you had this one, which I have to start off with. But when you have a situation where this player, Jaylen Brown, who was 6th in the MVP voting, averaged almost 29 points a game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Pretty much at the peak of his powers, at his prime. Second team All-NBA. And yes, we could go back to what happened last week where he was dangled for Giannis. We know what happened. And because of the fallout by the front office where Brad Stevens last week said that, oh, he's still in our plans. And although I can't predict the future and all this nonsense, where if he just would have been straight and direct, and I understand he can't tip his hand, but the Boston sports fan, and for the most part, the sports fan of the Northeast, they're pretty savvy. You cannot fool them. And I get it that he's not going to bash his player or say anything that's going to really go against him because think about it. If he's going to say, well, yeah, we don't want Jaylen Brown anymore, then they're going to get 25 cents on the dollar, which is what they got back in this trade, which I'll get to in a minute because I want to talk about Jaylen Brown. So Brown, and we've chronicled this, not even 48 hours or 24 hours after they lost to the Sixers, him complaining about Joel Embiid flopping and how the officials were horrible and how ironic that now he's a teammate. But with all that being said, could you have gotten a king's ransom for Jaylen Brown? That may be a little bit too strong, but as I said a second ago, this was the time to sell because he'll probably have another year or two like this, but instead of Giannis, a couple of years after the fact where the Heat gave up what they gave up, which certainly wasn't anything close to what Giannis has been and probably what he will be for the next 2 years, that the Bucks would just say, to hell with it, we're going to take this deal as opposed to Jaylen Brown, fine. But for them to get this return, and to quote Mikal Bridges, the Knick who just recently won a championship, and we know that he was traded from Brooklyn to the Knicks for 5 first-round picks, 4 unprotected, where he said, F them picks. Well, Paul George, and I'll get to him in a minute, 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s, I'm sorry, F those picks. They could have gotten a lot more than what they got here. And then you had Shams Charania, who obviously has his ear to the street and knows what's going on. And for him to say yesterday morning that there were about 8 to 10 teams in the mix as far as possibilities for the Celtics to make a deal. And then you start going over these teams. And to me, and for those who have watched me and followed me podcast, you've heard this before. But for those hopping on for the first time, yeah, I'm thinking maybe, okay, OKC, San Antonio, could it be Houston, Portland? All right, in the East, you hear all these rumors about Jalen Duren maybe going to the Lakers. Could be a sign and trade because he's a restricted free agent. Could it be the Pistons? Who knows? And that was just 5 teams I came up with. So I'm thinking, all right, 8 to 10 teams. Wow, that's a lot. To me, that's a bit too much. I don't know who Jaylen Brown's representatives are, but still, all right, fine. But then the word comes down that he gets traded for Paul George, 2 number 1 picks and 2 number 2s. And I said to myself, there's got to be more to it, right? That can't just be the trade. And we understand that the money has to match up. So it's not as if they're going to get a bunch of picks and no money back because Jaylen Brown is making a king's ransom. And over the next 2 years, Paul George, at 36 years of age, he's also making a pretty penny. So, all right, no way they're going to get Tyrese Maxey. They're not going to get Joel Embiid back. And even though when he's healthy, he's dominant, but that's the underlining when healthy, or in this case, if he's healthy. And not only am I perturbed, not only am I flabbergasted, but if there were 8 to 10 teams, this was the best offer that was out there? Brad Stevens, I mean, you just turned into David Stearns, the GM of the Mets. I don't get it. I don't understand. I'm sure all of New England and South, West, and abroad are probably thinking the same thing too. Now, I didn't see the video, but I did see there was a quote next to Quentin Richardson, the former NBA player, where he said that this trade is good for both teams. Where? I don't see it. And don't even tell me about the picks, because the Sixers are going to be good over the next 4 to 5 years. Jaylen Brown's going to re-sign. He's going to get an extension. He's going to be there till he's in his mid-30s. Embiid, who knows? Scotch tape, bubblegum, crazy glue, I don't know. But he's not going to last the rigors of an 82-game season, even if he plays 2/3 of that. You mean to tell me he's going to go through 4 rounds healthy? I don't think so. But they're going to be significantly better. That is a trade that the Sixers won, and I'm sure that they're getting a car service, if not a private jet, to bring Jaylen Brown from Beantown to Philly. This is one that Brad Stevens has a ton of explaining, and I cannot wait for the press conference. I can't. Because what is he going to say? Oh, this is the best deal. And I understand he's going to keep his cards close to the vest. He's not going to say what other deals are out there. We're going to have some reporter that's going to go out there and try to dig and see, oh, wow, well, this team offered this package. That team offered even bigger package. But the Celtics settled for this? And listen, I don't want to get on Paul George's case. Lord knows I have over the years. We get it that he's a good two-way player, even at 36 years of age. I can't even say he's good. Yeah, he'll have his moments. Yeah, he'll show up when he's, who knows? If he's not taking PEDs, if he's not, or injured shoulders or hamstrings or things of that nature. I mean, I don't know. But you're getting a guy who's 36, long in the tooth, broken down. Yeah, may have flashes, but he's far from the player that he was. Forget about even Indiana after he broke his leg gruesomely. But even early on with the Clippers. I mean, Paul George could wish he could come close to the numbers that Jaylen Brown will have. And I don't want to hear, oh, we have the Hugo Gonzalez's of the world and the Jordan Walshes and the Bayless Shiremans that's going to combine to come close to what Jaylen Brown has put forth here, especially over the last couple of years. I'm sorry. I'm not buying that. And bringing in Mitchell Robinson, which is good with an asterisk. Another situation where if he's healthy, he's going to play, let's say, 60 games. Now, I'm hoping more than that. I want at least 70. If he's going to last majority of the season and through 4 rounds of a postseason, then you know what? That is a big-time signing. He's going to provide offensive rebounding and defense. He can't score to save his life. I understand alley-oops. That's fine. But that and Mike Conley, who, let's face it, he's a relic. He's only going to play 15, 18, and he's sure he's not getting paid a ton. But I just don't understand this trade in so many ways, shapes, or form. I just don't. And I could belabor this for the rest of the podcast. I won't, because I got to get to other things. And yeah, I see Waffle Iron has a comment there. I don't want to hear anything good about. I know that's just a disaster. And then Victor, who's a Celtic fan, Morning Jay, how can you make a trade like this? Oh, I know. It's 3 things that's wrong about this trade. You traded him to your rival, who I just said at the top. You lost to them in the first round and came back and beat you. Number 1. Number 2, the return. Seriously? You couldn't get any better. And 3, Paul George is washed. That's all there is to it. You're not going to get anything close to the Paul George that you got in Indiana, the short stint in Oklahoma City, early on with the Clippers. And the thing about Paul George is that he is not to be trusted in big spots. And I get it. He's not coming to this team to add 23, 24 points a game. Listen, if you get 16 and 8, I guess you have to do handstands. But here's the bigger thing, and then I'll move on, which to me, this encapsulates this trade. Their championship window is closing. If not, you could argue that it's already closed, because you're not going to get a better player than Jaylen Brown, especially over the last couple of years, that's going to come close to having that championship piece to get back to what they did 2 years ago. What, Jason Tatum's the only guy? And I want to hear about Derek White, who took 2 steps back, and he's 32 years of age. And I don't want to knock him because he's been a good Celtic, but he's hot and cold. You don't have anybody else that's going to come in there and ignite that offense, whether off the bench or another guy that you're going to trust in that lineup. Paul George, I'm not gonna. Sorry. I saw this man in the Clippers in the bubble going 4 for 16, taking shots mid-range, hitting it off the side of the backboard. And again, in big spots, playoff games, nowhere to be found. Although Game 6, he was fantastic against the Celtics in the first round, of course. But the championship window, it is closing as we speak. Because, yeah, they'll be a playoff team. And, yeah, maybe they'll make some noise. But unless they have something up their sleeve or Brad Stevens says, Celtic fans, hold my Sam Adams, until we get that, oh, wow, big-time trade or whatever it is, because I would think he has to package these picks. Those picks are going to be awful. They're going to be in the 20s. Philly's going to be good with Brown, Edgecombe, Maxey. You want to throw in Embiid if he's healthy? And this thing with Perkins, Sixers going to the finals next year? Stop. Put a pause on that. Could they? They could, but they're not going to. So I don't want to hear that nonsense either. Mr. Lucky, as a Hornet fans who wanted Brown, had more. Oh, exactly. Excellent point. I didn't understand. And Mr. Lucky, I'm sure you got to be hurting as a Hornets fan because I don't know what your organization has done considering LaMelo Ball and you're going to trade Miles Bridges and Ball, unless there was a falling out of some sort. I don't know. But you know what? I would have taken LaMelo Ball back and draft picks. Now, that team is on the rise, you would think, but who knows? They're all the Hornets. No offense there, Mr. Lucky. Nancy, I see you. Thanks for hopping on board. And Victor, if we get a draft pick like Cooper Flag in the near future, okay, but I believe when I see it. Love you. Yeah, I love you too, Vic. Exactly. This trade, oh my goodness. It set the Celtics back big time. Forget about them being a threat. Unless, again, Brad Stevens has something up his sleeve. And that we'll have to wait and see. All right, now I'll move on because I spent the first, whatever it was, 14 minutes talking about this Celtic trade, which I don't know if I'll ever get over. But you also had a couple of other big trades. Ja Morant early in the week sent to Portland for Chris Murray and Jeremy Grant. Now, listen, I get it that Ja Morant's stock is low right now, but Portland with Shaedon Sharpe, Damian Lillard, who'll be healthy, Scoot Henderson, Donnie Avdija. I mean, that's a good team. Portland could be a top 6 team in the West next year. I would not be surprised. Listen, they made it as a 7 seed. Granted, they got in the play-in, but they did win that play-in game and they won a 7. Why can't they be in the top 6? So I like that trade for Portland. I get it that the Grizzlies are bottoming out. They traded Jaren Jackson last year, as you know, to Utah. Then you had a situation here with Morant. They're starting from scratch. Cameron Boozer and whatever it is that they could do to rebuild that franchise, roster, etc. So that's number one. And then Kawhi Leonard going back to Toronto, where Brandon Ingram, who's always hurt too, Grady Dick, and a bunch of first-round picks and second-round picks too, and I believe a pick swap as well. And listen, everybody's going to have visions north of the border of 2019 all over again, whether or not Kawhi could go back and win another title. Now, with Jacob Portal, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, not a bad team. And I understand they were a 5th seed this year? And they played well with Kawhi. If he's going to be healthy, he played 65 games this past year. If he plays 65 games this year, they could be a 4 seed. They'll certainly be in the top 6 in the East. And then maybe they'll add a piece or two along the way. Who knows? I mean, but I don't think Toronto's going to be a big-time team, even with Kawhi there. And again, underline his health. The face of Nike going to Oregon, the fix was in. I'll jump in on that later, the novice. We'll get to that too. But I thought that those were good deals for Toronto. The Clippers, they're starting over. Not only that, but they're trying to get rid of that whole aspiration, the circumventing the cap. I'm sure that was Steve Ballmer's way to try to get rid of this issue. Now, I'm sure they're still going to investigate, and they should, just because Kawhi isn't there anymore. I get it. That's now the Raptors' issue to deal with, but that shouldn't exonerate Ballmer as far as him not paying any price or penalty based on this transaction, if you want to call it, last year with Kawhi showing up and having $22 million or whatever it was paid through this company to where Steve Ballmer didn't have to worry about having to pay that as far as any tax implications are concerned. And here's the thing. That building was open 2 years ago with the thought of having James Harden, also Kawhi, prior to that, Paul George, where this team, they're going to compete with the Lakers. And what happened? They're starting all over again. And speaking of competing with the Lakers, they made some big moves. Walker Kessler from Utah brings that center that they desperately need. 7'2", obviously in a conference with Wemby, Jokic, etc. Then you also bring in the likes of Quentin Grimes, and they brought, I can't pronounce the guy's name, Sandro from Toronto, Mamashvili or whatever. Again, I can't pronounce that guy's last name. That one is just a tongue twister for me. I'm sorry. But not only that, but they also bring in Colin Sexton. So good pieces, and I think viable pieces for the Lakers to compete next year. Now I don't know what they're going to do it with Rui Hachimura. DeAndre Ayton, forget about. So the Lakers look like this could be their team. Maybe they'll add a piece or two along the way. Marcus Smart leaves. He goes to Houston as he reunites there with his former coach, Ime Udoka. What else you got with these moves? Kristaps stays in the Bay Area with the Warriors, and now who knows? I guess I could get to the next thing with LeBron. Is LeBron going to team up with Curry and company to be a part of that team? Which, let's face it, that team's going nowhere. I'm sorry, Val, who's a huge Warrior fan. That's just to sell more tickets. Now, will they be good? They'll be good enough because the Warriors have been good enough to make it to the play-in. That's it. They're not going to compete with OKC, San Antonio, the Lakers, Portland, Minnesota, Houston. There's no way they're going to crack that top six. And even if Curry, you turn back the clock to 2018, Draymond, I'm sure he's probably going to re-up now. The Wizards, they said, we're not going to look into any deals regarding Anthony Davis. So it looks like he's staying put there in D.C. So what do you have? You're going to have LeBron, Steph, Jimmy Butler's going to come back in February after a torn ACL. Porzingis, who you don't know about his health ever since that viral injury that he got in the last year, or now 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, when he was a member of the Celtics, when they lost to the Knicks in the Eastern Conference semis, where he couldn't even run up and down the court, and he still had that even going into last year. I mean, that Warrior team is, come on. They're not going to compete for a title. So that answers this question. Where should LeBron James end up? That's a no-brainer. I've said it yesterday. I've said it in shorts a couple days ago here on the channel on YouTube. San Antonio. And people could chastise LeBron. Oh, look at him chasing rings, this and that. He's 41. He's going to be 42 in December. You know what? Let him ring chase at this point. I know my guy Bio doesn't want to hear that because he doesn't want to get that 5th ring to match Kobe, which I understand. But where else is he going to go? He's going to go back to Cleveland to play with 2 guys who are going to want the ball all the time, and Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. And who knows what Evan Mobley, he was on the block. And you know what? I would have taken his, although I said no, I want no part of him. But you know what? If Cleveland was going to take Jaylen Brown, I would have taken Evan Mobley. Oh, jeez. And Cleveland's probably another team. I don't want to go there. But LeBron should end up in San Antonio. He'd be the perfect fit. He's a guy that can handle the ball when need be. Because the Aaron Fox, I get it. I even teased yesterday. Celtics going to get the Aaron Fox. I understand. Finals aside, he was awful. I criticized him to no end. But I would have taken him a point guard, which the Celtics could definitely use, over a guy who is well past his prime in Paul George. And I know 4 years at $222 million with Fox. I get it. But still, back to LeBron. I think San Antonio is the perfect fit because he brings that wealth of knowledge, experience to a locker room that needs it desperately. Obviously, to get into Wemby's head to be like, hey, don't fall for the okey doke. Don't fall for the baiting. Don't worry about the crowds. When you go back to New York, later for them, whatever. And he's a guy that could be not big, a powerful influence in that locker room. And you know, Greg Popovich respects him, even though Popovich obviously is not in the sidelines anymore. It's Mitch Johnson. And I get it. You got that dynamic. Mitch Johnson is younger than LeBron. But you know what? I'd sign him, and I'm sure they could give him whatever. Not even the mid-level. They could probably give him $25, $27 million. Not that LeBron needs it. But to go along with Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, obviously Wemby, Julian Champagnie, who just re-signed. I mean, please. To me, that's the biggest no-brainer in all of the NBA. But does he want to go there? I know we talked about this a couple weeks ago when I had Tim from the Tim Show on. The big thing right now for LeBron James is he willing to get that next ring, the final ring we would think for his career, and put his ego aside to not make a ton of money because, again, people could say, well, hey, he's in the NBA. He should make as much money as possible. I mean, the guy is, come on, it's LeBron James. The guy's worth over $1 billion. You mean to tell me, I got to get another 50 mil or whatever it is to kind of break the bank? Stop. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, there's just no way to even quantify that you want to go out as a champion to close out your career a la John Elway and go off into the sunset, even if you are a hired gun, then say, you know what, I want to make as much money. I don't care. I'll go to pick a team. Orlando. I mean, what? Oh, jeez. Any other signings here before I move on? Yeah, Norman Powell goes to Chicago, so obviously he's out in Miami. Kelly Oubre, Indianapolis. Tobias Harris signed with the Spurs. And Harris, that's not the guy. I'm sorry. Nice player. Has his moments. Had his moments in the postseason this year, but when it really counted, especially in those last couple of games against Cleveland, what happened? I mean, that's what you're going to get. So to me, if the Spurs think that, we got our veteran guy who knows his way around the league, but no. Sorry. Tobias Harris is not it. And then I guess I got to close on this before I move on to other things. I know Malik Beasley, although he says he's pleading not guilty, and Ed Davis, former NBA players that now are wrapped up in this federal gambling case. And Beasley, I believe there's a lot of evidence to show that he was throwing games. All I got to say, was it worth it? Similar to Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, the relievers from the Guardians. I don't care. I'm sorry. I could do this podcast, talk show, whatever you want to call it. And let's say if I was making, I'll throw a modest number. Let's say I was making 6 figures doing this. But then somebody says, well, hey, Jay Reels, we want you to get involved in this thing, show up at appearances, whatever, but it's real shady. It's some mafia maybe there. You may see some NBA or NFL stars, but we're going to pay you this amount. Now, you got to keep it on the hush, but we'll pay you double what you're making on your podcast, and away you go. Guess what? Sorry, that's a stiff arm. Why would I do that? They could say, here's $20 million. And even though, would it be enticing? Absolutely. But it's like, no, why? So then I could be sent off to the feds upstate with a tag and somebody please send me letters or newspapers, which newspapers, are they even in print anymore? But you know what I'm saying? I mean, come on. What are we doing? Let me see if anything has happened with the NBA. Excuse me. Tim Hardaway Jr. signed with the Heat. Oh, he did sign with the Heat, yeah. One thing he won't have is the number 10 jersey he wore at college for portions of his career. Yeah, Tim Hardaway Sr. is not letting it say my. Nah, I understand. Tim Hardaway's coming out saying, my legacy is my legacy. He's doing it his way, even though he likes to wear 10. He loves to wear 10, but it's not coming down from the rafters. All right. No, I can understand that. So that's the other latest news, I guess, with the NBA. Tim Hardaway Jr. signing with the Heat, which, hey, he'll add some offense, come off the bench. And, yeah, that's what you have with the NBA. All right, so before I get to the NHL and what's happening there, I'm going to pivot and put on my cleats to talk a little World Cup because now it's getting hot and heavy. And, boy, what a week it's been there if you followed, watched, etc. I'll start with the game last night, U.S. and Bosnia. Not a great game, which is, listen, I'm not a big soccer fan because there's just too many lulls. People want to say baseball's boring. And listen, I know I am far from a soccer aficionado. Put it this way, I'm far from a soccer novice. Listen, I can tell you who some of the top players are in the world, but after that, sorry, I don't have much to add. So I admit that. But the game last night, and not that you expect action every 5 seconds. I get that too, please. I'm well aware. But last night's game, yeah, certainly not one to put in a time capsule to remember 50 years from now. But there has been a point of controversy, which I'll get to. But U.S., even Bosnia had a chance there early where the goalkeeper made a save. I think it was 9 minutes in. Now, Bosnia, although they had a couple of flurries late, but they didn't really make any hay in this game, weren't much of a threat. Now, I know they had the first goal there with the offsides on Flo Balogun, and I forgot what minute that was. Yeah, it was maybe like in the 30s, somewhere in the 30th minute. And then you had a scenario in the 44th minute where he scored the goal, not offsides, nice move. And that was actually after a turnover deep in Bosnia's zone to where they were able to execute, get it in the back of the net, get the goal 1-0. They also had another goal on an offside taken away by Christian Pulisic, which, again, offsides are offsides. You can't dispute that. But the one big thing, even after the penalty kick that you saw, and I understand the player was trying to get involved there to try to knock the ball away, but he ended up tripping the striker, which obviously led to the penalty kick. And Malik Tillman, great shot over and through. Excellent shot, tough play for the goalkeeper to make to try to stop there, especially when you're trying to look through a sea of bodies as they try to jump to get the header. At least to get it deflected away from the net. Not the case, 2-0. And even though those two flurries by Bosnia were after the two goals were scored, one was just wide right and the other was wide left. And they also had another opportunity, which the goalkeeper made an easy, I could have made that save. But Bosnia wasn't much of a threat offensively. And U.S. did what they had to do. But it came at a big cost because the aforementioned Flo Balogun, who stepped on the ankle inadvertently, certainly no intent there. And how the hell they gave him a red card was beyond me. And listen, again, I am not Mr. Soccer fan by any stretch, but how did the VAR, what did they see there? I mean, did he pull? I hate to bring this guy's name up, but remember once upon a time when Dominic Sue, when he was with Detroit, and I forgot who it was. It wasn't Aaron Rodgers. I believe it was the backup on the Packers. Not Matt Flynn, maybe a third stringer. I can't remember, but he actually stepped on and it was actually in Ford Field. It may have been around the time, or it was, matter of fact, it wasn't the quarterback. It was the offensive lineman where he stepped on the calf. That did not happen yesterday. That was not the case. So how they looked at that as a red card is beyond me, which meant that he was gone for the rest of the game. This was after he scored the first goal, and the other goal was wiped out for the offsides. And then now he's not going to play in the following game against Belgium, which is going to be enormous. And as I'm thinking about it now, watching the replays, and I just couldn't believe it. To me, I understand that you want to give him a yellow card there, fine. Because again, he wasn't trying to step on the guy's ankle. He was trying to make a play. Obviously, got it was as clear as day. But there was no way shape or form that there was intent there where he was really trying to harm the kid. I didn't see that. And listen, I'm not trying to break out the red, white, and blue pom-poms because I would have said, yeah, that was egregious. He deserves a red card there. I would have said that. Why? Call like I see it. To me, that was just awful. And that could cost him in the next game or the next match. And again, Bosnia, I understand this is as far as they've gotten. Wasn't really a threat. And who knows, maybe they can build for the next 4 years if they do qualify and make it into the tournament. But now the U.S. are going to face off against Belgium, and Belgium had a game for the ages yesterday. Down to Senegal, and it looked like it was bleak, big time. Where they were down, it was 2-0, and it was 2-1 there in the 88th minute where Belgium scored. And then in the 120th minute when they went to check the video assist, and yes, another one of those bang-bang type plays where the player went to try to slide in to poke the ball away, but he ended up tripping the striker, so therefore awarded a penalty kick. And what happens? He buries it to the top right-hand corner, and for all of that intents and purposes, game's over. In Senegal, that is a crushing defeat. To think that you were not necessarily 2 minutes away because you had the extra time after the 90th minute. And, of course, anything could happen. But they were unable to hang on there. And those are the breaks. That was a play where could you argue whether or not it's a penalty kick? I mean, listen, the striker's there ready to pounce. You could say smart play because he didn't have an opportunity to score. But at the same time, it's tough because it's so late in the game. You're hoping that it gets to penalty kicks. It did not. And now you have a scenario where Senegal, that is, they already haven't had their flight, that is going to be the longest flight home that they'll ever experience. And now Belgium moves on to play U.S., who is not going to have one of their key strikers. And it's a situation where could this be costly? Now, to me, Belgium, they played each other in March. I know Belgium beat U.S. handily at that time. Now, it's a whole different set of circumstances. They're going to be playing here, home country advantage. I believe that game is in Seattle. And I'll take a look at the schedule in a moment. What is this? Freddie to Edmonton. Oh, yeah, Frederick Anderson. And I'll get to that in a minute. FIFA hates the USA. Mark, LeBron's not going to the Spurs. I'm not saying he's going there. That's the place where he should end up, if you ask me. Just my opinion. But for the U.S. and Belgium, and that game is Monday, so I'll have time to talk about it. Let me just make sure I got that correct. I believe that game, as I look at the schedule here, bear with me one moment. That game is Monday, 8 o'clock in Seattle. So, yeah, we could talk about it on Monday's pod. But that's going to be, I'll say this, that's going to be a tough game for U.S., but they have to win that game. They got to advance. They got to get to a quarterfinal. They lose that game, and I understand they had the built-in excuse of, oh, well, we're not going to have one of our key strikers, blah, blah, blah. I know the novice said the fix is in. One of the guys in the chat room, for those who are listening on Apple or Spotify and not watching here on YouTube or Spotify once it's posted and recorded. But we'll have to wait and see. I think that's going to be not a tall order. U.S. could beat them, but they have to advance there. As far as the other matches this week, now England, boy, they survived against Congo, did they not? Now, I was on the air yesterday during the live stream when the game was taking place. Now, I read something where with England now playing Mexico, which that's going to be a fantastic game. In Mexico, you talk about a magic carpet ride, gift from the gods. This team, 4-0, they have not even given up a goal, which there's that part of me that doesn't bode well. And that's not to say they're going to lose a game like 4-1, but at some point, do you have that feeling that the house is just going to collapse on Mexico? Now, one of the things I read, and I didn't really think about this until it was brought up, that the reason why, a lot of people are saying that the reason why Mexico has won, now granted, give them credit, they've won the games, did what they've had to do. Again, just a fantastic run here. But remember, they are playing at a higher altitude, and that's got to be affecting their opposition. Where from one article I read that one guy says that England doesn't have a chance to beat Mexico because of that element. And I said, wow, is it that much? Listen, I get it here in the States when you go any NBA, NFL, or NHL team that plays in Denver. I'm not going to say the Rockies, although the elevation has something to do with the balls flying out of that ballpark. But especially in the NBA and the NFL too, where the altitude certainly is a factor. And of course, soccer, all you're doing is running around, and you would think it's going to catch up to you at some point, especially those who aren't accustomed to playing in those conditions. But what's going to be fascinating is this. That next game after England, if Mexico does win, I believe the quarterfinals, they'll probably have to play here on U.S. soil. How that game's going to translate is going to be one to watch. Think about that moving forward. But they do have that next game, which should be Sunday, right? Sunday, 8 o'clock. Boy, look at that doubleheader. Brazil-Norway at 4 at MetLife. And Mexico-England, and that's going to be in Mexico. And I'll get to today's games tomorrow and Saturday momentarily. Now, the other big loss you had was Germany losing to Paraguay. And that destroyed a Germany-France matchup, which I believe was the rematch in was it the 2014? Or maybe it was 2018. Germany, I believe, didn't they win the 2014 World Cup? And I want to say that was against France. And I get it. It's many years ago. Different cast of characters. But there would have been nostalgia there if those two teams would have matched up. But now you're going to have Paraguay, who, let's face it, they're here for a reason. But France, they're the odds-on favorite. That could be one of those NCAA, wow, Paraguay won. They're the, let's say, out of that region in the NCAA tournament where they may be a double digit, a 10, 11, 12, and now they're going to go up against a 2, or in this case, a 1 seed, and watch, they're going to take them to the back of the woodshed there on Saturday afternoon. But for Germany, I know, talking about a bitter pill, that one had to be rough to swallow, and one that, of course, and I didn't watch the game and wasn't locked in the way I was to, let's say, the game last night with U.S. versus Bosnia. And I'll be locked into some of these games here, which we'll get to in a moment. But now you're starting to get into the teeth of the tournament. You're really getting into the nuts and bolts. A lot of those teams going by the wayside, and now the cream is starting to rise to the top here to see what we're going to have unfold over these next few days, obviously heading into next week. And let's take a look here. Your schedule today, you got Spain and Austria, 3 o'clock. That's at SoFi. Followed by Portugal and Croatia, 7 o'clock in Toronto. And then Switzerland, Algeria, 11 o'clock. That's in Vancouver. Tomorrow, Australia, Egypt, 2 o'clock down in Arlington. Argentina, Cape Verde. Let's see Cape Verde now. You want to talk about the clock striking 12? You want to be a Cinderella? Let's see what you're going to do here. But that game, 6 o'clock in Miami. You think Argentina isn't going to be fully represented there in South Florida? They had a bridge to sell you in Brooklyn. And then Colombia and Ghana, which I think that's going to be a very good game, 9:30 there in Arrowhead. And then Saturday, Canada and Morocco down in Houston, 1 o'clock. Paraguay, France, 5 o'clock. down in Philly. And then Sunday, as I mentioned, Brazil, Norway at MetLife, and Mexico, England. That'll wrap up the schedule of the rest of the weekend. And also remember this. Canada, who will play first Saturday, Mexico Sunday, U.S. Monday. Kind of wonder if there's a little bit of I don't want to say a rival, but knowing that each team has done well and have gone far here in this World Cup, will Canada think that, hey, we want to be the one team from North America that's going to represent, show up and show out. Let's see if they're going to be able to outlast the Moroccans and then get themselves to a situation where they'll play into next week. And obviously Mexico the same, even with the elements there with the high altitude, on top of U.S. trying to beat Belgium there on Monday. So looking forward to it. It's going to be fascinating. Obviously, I'll be on top of it. We'll talk more about that on Monday's podcast. All right, now I'm going to turn my attention. A home game for Messi. Absolutely. You're right about that, the novice. And let me see. Val coming correct with the updates there. I love it. Thank you for that. He's not going to Spurs, probably Ohio, my bet. Hey, listen, would I be surprised? No, but I don't think he's a good fit in Cleveland for two reasons. One, he's going to have to get along with the owner yet again. And two, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden demand the ball a lot as it is to begin with. And I get it, LeBron at this age is not going to want to handle the ball, dominate it as much, but does he really want to be a third banana? Listen, he could be a third banana on, or even a second banana in San Antonio. That's not to say he's going there, but that he'd understand. You mean to tell me he's going to take a backseat to Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, where the likelihood of James Harden re-signing there is high? That's why, if I'm LeBron, I wouldn't go back there. But that's me. Probably Jordan could still score 11 average better than most. Well, at his age. No, LeBron isn't washed. Absolutely not, Mark. Without question. NHL, as I lace up the skates. A lot of wheeling and dealing going on there. I understand not the fervor, not the excitement that the NBA, and again, the NBA had all those trades. So, although you've had a couple here in the National Hockey League, but to me, the theme that I've gotten so far, Utah, Florida, San Jose making big bids to win the offseason. Utah bringing in Vincent Trocheck from the Rangers, where the Ranger fan, they are very unhappy with the haul that they got back. A couple of players and I believe a third-round pick next year. They also signed the former Islander captain Anders Lee, 3 years, about $5.4 million a year. And Utah, who got to the playoffs last year, got knocked down in the first round by the Western Conference champs, the Vegas Golden Knights, but certainly trying to add more pieces to their team to build and get deeper next year than they were this year. San Jose, with their good young core, Will Smith, Macklin Celebrini, their second-round pick, the second overall they got this year, Michael Misa. I mean, that team's going to be loaded. They also bring in Jacob Trouba, the defenseman, formerly of Anaheim and also the Rangers, who is a rugged player, add some toughness and some experience. They also add another big piece in bringing in Darnell Nurse, the former Oiler defenseman, who at least has been to a cup final, two, in fact, and also adds some experience to that back line. Mason Marchment, who has bounced around here and now signs with the Sharks. Actually, his dad played for the Sharks once upon a time. Rest in peace, Brian Marchment, a tough winger back in his day. Also played defense, mainly for the Winnipeg Jets. So they've added some key pieces there to try to build with their young roster a good mix of veterans and youth. I think San Jose could be a big-time team next year. Maybe not get to a cup, but certainly get into the playoffs and maybe make some noise once they get into the tournament. Now, Florida, also, we know about Brady Tkachuk, which they made about a week and a half ago. They also pick up Jacob Markstrom, the goalie formerly of Calgary and New Jersey, where they send Evan Rodriguez, a couple of key components to their cup team over the last few years. But for them to get Markstrom, who they feel is an upgrade over Sergei Bobrovsky, and Bobrovsky, who won them 2 cups, he signed with Toronto, which I thought was a big deal because Toronto, they needed a big-time goaltender. Now, what Bobrovsky has left remains to be seen, but we know Toronto, they have been, I don't want to say a mess this past year, considering they didn't make it to the playoffs. But they've done a big overhaul with their front office, coaching, and now bringing in Bobrovsky among a couple other players that they've made some deals here this offseason. Toronto trying to make some noise as well to get themselves back in any type of contention. As we all know, they haven't won a Stanley Cup since 1967. But to me, the 3 big teams so far, Florida, Utah, and San Jose, that have made, I think, the biggest moves. Now, knowing that the Winnipeg Jets signed Stuart Skinner and putting Connor Hellebuck on the trade block, we know Hellebuck, who came off of winning a gold medal there with the USA team at the Olympics and has won 3 Vezina trophies. The guy's going to be a Hall of Famer, I get it. But in big spots, postseason, whatever, he has never delivered. I don't understand. Maybe their cap situation, who knows? Or they didn't want to give up a lot to get this Hellebuck to trade, considering that now Hellebuck's going to be on the block. I'm surprised that Edmonton didn't try to go all in to show Connor McDavid that they mean business to want to get him a Stanley Cup, to bring Hellebuck to to Edmonton from Winnipeg. Instead, they go after Frederik Andersen, the goaltender who had to get pulled in a Stanley Cup final, who, yes, I understand, was 12-1 in the first 3 rounds, getting to the Cup final, had poor games in the first 4 to where he got pulled, and had Brandon Bussey complete the championship run for the Carolina Hurricanes. So they signed Frederik Andersen to a 1-year deal, 36 years of age. I understand, made strides this year, but certainly deserves a ring, but wasn't a guy to backstop the entire championship run. And if you're the Oilers, that's an upgrade. Better than Stuart Skinner, better than Calvin Pickard, better than Tristan Jarry. That you have to admit, hands down. Is he an upgrade? Absolutely. But you're trying to win the Stanley Cup. And even in the case where they won the Cup, he wasn't a guy to be in the nets between the pipes celebrating in Vegas, winning Game 6 there a couple of weeks ago. So I have to temper that a little bit. But again, it's an upgrade. So I give him credit. And then the strange twist here with John Carlson. Carlson, the longtime Capital who went to Anaheim at the deadline, had his rights sent to Carolina, and you thought, oh, geez, just what they needed, another backliner that's going to help them try to go back-to-back next year. But for whatever the reason, they couldn't come to an agreement on a contract, therefore made Carlson an unrestricted free agent, And what does he do? He signs with the Tampa Bay Lightning, which is big because Victor Hedman, as you know, missed the last part of the season and then most of the playoffs. It was only in the first round. I believe Hedman came back in the final couple of games. But for the Lightning to bring him in, big piece, knows how to win, won a cup there in Washington, as we know, in 2018, and brings a lot of that experience. And again, that team has a lot of experience to begin with. The Nikita Kucherovs, the reigning MVP, the Braden Points of the world, the Victor Hedmans, of course. You want to throw in the goaltender, Andrei Vasilevsky. So it's not as if they're lacking any type of playoff or Stanley Cup experience, but you bring in another guy like that, why not? You're definitely going to do that. So kudos to the Lightning for making that move. And as far as any other moves, NHL, let me see. Speaking of the Caps, they do have a roster spot for Alexander Ovechkin. Let's see what happens there. Zach Werenski, who I understand that could have been traded to Dallas, but nixed that deal as the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to commit to Zach Werenski, who won the Norris Trophy this year for best defenseman in the league. So he's not going anywhere. Yeah, the Kings, they made some moves. Scott Lawton and Eric Howla, along with Matt Zuccarello, the former Ranger and Minnesota Wild. Corey Perry signs a one-year deal. So the Kings making some moves here. Small ones, but good ones. And Perry, he's going to be 42 years old, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, Perry's up there in age. And Lawton's been around, obviously, a long time, as we know. But that's the extent of it, I believe, with the deals. Hold on. Let me just double check if I missed anything here. NHL. Yeah, Devils tender the offer sheet to Mammoth Barrett Hayton. Yeah, Capitals signed a couple players. Rasmus Anderson stays with the Golden Knights. I know, which was mentioned earlier by Val. Oh, Rangers get Oliver Bjorkstrand, one-year deal. All right. From what I read, Rangers fans aren't happy with that Trocheck move. Ilya Mikheyev, yes. Tampa also signed from Chicago to add to their depth on the front line as far as the forwards go. Yeah, so you got a lot of these deals here. Joonas Korpisalo from the Bruins. Rangers pick him up. Victor Arvidsson, Detroit. I know they got a ton of them. Nico Hischier resigns with the Devils. Gets an extension, I should say. So, yeah, Dan Vladar with the Flyers. Stays in Philly. And Toronto signed. Oh, all right. I didn't know about that. Jack Roslovic, or Roslovic, I should say. You know me with these names, people. Leafs continue to make some moves. So, yeah. And as we move it along here, I'm sure by the time we get to Monday's podcast, both NBA and NHL will start to wind down a little bit. You may have another trade or two. But keep yourself locked in on the channel, because if anything does happen, breaking of note, I'll pop up on the channel and share my thoughts on those deals, similar to the Jaylen Brown deal yesterday, which is on there. If you want to get my instant reaction on top of what you saw here, please feel free to check it out, subscribe while you're at it, etc. All right, now let me turn my attention, get into some baseball, and then I got some tennis news before I get to your comments. Let me J-Real's talking about Sharks. Yes, I am. But as far as the baseball goes, as I get in the batter's box, the story right now is the Yankees. And it's weird with this team because when Aaron Judge was out of the lineup, what was it now? It's been at least three and a half weeks. And everybody thought the Yankees were going to bottom out. But I'm sure he's going to be evaluated in the next week or two. He said 4 to 6 weeks evaluation. Who knows? But those first couple of weeks after Judge was on the shelf, the Yankees actually played well. And they pitched well. And you thought, wow, they haven't missed a beat. No Judge, no problem. And I even talked about that on the podcast. Well, now you have a situation where it's almost DEFCON 1 there in Yankee land, where the Yankees are coming off back-to-back sweeps of teams that are, let's face it, the dregs of the American League. They go up to Fenway, get swept 4 games. They come back to play the Tigers, and they get swept 3 games. And the game yesterday looked like it was going to be a Yankee victory. They couldn't hit their way out of a wet paper bag over these first 6 games, even yesterday. But then in the 9th inning, Ahmed Rosario hits a home run. 2-1. Jazz Chisholm gets an infield hit, steals second and third, comes home on a wild pitch. Then Volpe gets on base, steals second, he's out, kills the inning. Top of the 10th, Tigers score 4 runs. Miscues all over the field. Ali Sanchez throwing a ball in the center field. Another run scores. Yankees, they have hit not even their weight over the 7-game losing streak. In fact, I talked about it yesterday on the live stream. In the 5-game losing streak up until Tuesday night, their batting average as a team was 105. Yesterday in the game, they had 2 hits, I believe, through 6 innings. And they went up against a pitcher who I never heard of and actually has pitched well for the Rays this year. For the Tigers this year. And you just shake your head. Now, all of a sudden, the team can't hit. They can't field. The June Swoon, or they want to call it the Boone Swoon, now goes into July. But we've seen this with this Yankee team in years past. Let's go back to last year, where they went June into July. I talked about this briefly the other day. That last week of June, heading into the 4th of July weekend, they were 3.5 games up on the Toronto Blue Jays in the AL East. They go up to Toronto for 4 games before having to go to Citi Field to play the Mets for 3. And what happened? They lost 6 of 7. Got swept in Toronto. They lost first place from that point on. Lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets at Citi Field. Continue to play poorly as they got into August. And then once they got into August, things got better. And in September, they were lights out. Tied for Toronto at the top. Toronto had the tiebreaker because of the head-to-head. And the Yankees, as we all know, who did they lose to in the divisional series? The Blue Jays. 2 years prior to that, I remember a June swoon where the Yankees, for whatever the reason, Domingo Germán, remember him? Who pitched a perfect game in Oakland. I understand they didn't have Aaron Judge because he banged his toe at the bottom of the Dodger Stadium fence out there in right field. But they had another June, July, even August swoon to where they didn't even make the playoffs. They were 82-80. Is a lot of that because Aaron Judge out of the lineup? Yes, you could say that. Well, funny enough, Aaron Judge has not been in the lineup this go around. But even with all that said, and even with the June Boone swoons into July, the weather getting frightful, not for me, of course, as this is the most wonderful time of the year. It's going to be 101 today in New York, 100 tomorrow, 98 Saturday. I mean, bring it on. Let it be 105. I could care less. But with that being said, as hot as the Big Apple is going to be, baked to its core, who's coming in to Yankee Stadium over the next 3 days and who usually they beat as a pulp year in, year out? The Minnesota Twins. Now, if the Yankees lose 2 out of 3 to the Twins, then you may be onto something. Early in the year, the Yankees couldn't beat good teams and were beating up on the bad teams. Now they can't beat the bad teams. And if for whatever the reason, after a day off today, where I'm sure Aaron Boone, the player's manager that he is, he probably said, hey, guys, just hang out by your pools. Don't think about baseball. Get away from it. And we'll come back here on Friday and let's get at him again. Because that's the type of guy he is. He doesn't hold his teams accountable. Everything is a country club atmosphere. Not like, you didn't run out the first base, you're out of here. Just ride your ass on a pine. No, all knows an abomination. And all I could say is this. Are they going to win a division or be a wild card team? And we all know it doesn't matter because wild card teams can get to and win a World Series. So even with all that bad news that I brought to the Yankee fan out there, I don't know if Ray's in the room or I know Donavis is a Yankee fan. Sunnier skies still lie ahead. But are they going to start playing better? We'll have to wait and see. And I know I mentioned this yesterday, and I promise I will spend 120 seconds on this. So Met owner Steve Cohen has come out to say that I'm not going to do it. I'm not firing David Stearns. And I'm not going to get into all the other reasons why and nonsense. He wants to wait it out, be patient, whatever. But does he not see how disastrous this baseball team has performed? Does he not see that, hey, the first baseman that you got, Jorge Polanco, oh, yeah, he's been hurt and has had a history of injuries throughout the course of his career. When is our center fielder, Luis Robert, coming back? Oh, yeah, he's a guy that's been in and out of the lineup over the years because of injuries, but, yeah, we should get him at some point soon. Wait, Frankie Montas, he's on the payroll. How come he's not on our team? Oh, we let him go because we had no use for him. Wow, Pete Alonso has 19 home runs, 59 RBIs down in Baltimore. Why didn't we sign him? Oh, well, the metrics said that he's probably going to decline, especially defensively. We want to try to have run prevention here to have a better defensive guy at first base and therefore Alonso didn't fit the bill as far as the team goes. But Mark Vientos is booting balls, and we can't get a guy to play first base on a day in, day out basis, and we let this guy go, and we could use his 19 home runs, 59 RBIs. Yeah, I know, but more like win prevention or fun prevention. We're going to look past all that. His investment to this team and what David Stearns has done, as I've said a zillion times, is inexcusable, and the guy needs to be out on his ear. Zip. I'll move on. As far as the baseball, though, anything else happening? We know on Monday we gave you a little first half look. I know Paul Skeens got lit up yesterday by the Phils. Not having a big year. And let me just see here. Yeah, he said he didn't execute. Yeah, he's lost his last 6 starts. ERA well over 6. Well, he's certainly not a Cy Young candidate, but he could still get a big overhaul if they happen to trade Skeens. But anyway, with that being said, yeah, MLB, listen, everything is what it is with the standings. Yankees are 5 back on the loss, though. And remember, the Rays have won 7 in a row, while the Yankees have lost 7 in a row. We saw the Rays after they beat the Yankees at Yankee Stadium. What was that, in the middle of May? And then they had the rain out, and the Yankees won that game, and they went on a big-time winning streak. And this was after Judge got hurt, by the way. But now you wonder, we're going to flip-flop here. Now the Rays going to get in the funk. The Yankees get better. Now they're going to have a 3-game lead. It's going to be a hot potato there. White Sox still have a 1-game lead, 2 in a loss. Rangers and Mariners are tied with the Astros 2 behind. Braves 4 in a loss, but 2.5 ahead of the Phils. Marlins finally lost the game yesterday in Colorado. Brewers are, funny enough, who has that? Yeah, they have 3 games in hand on the Cubs. The Brewers are 7 in the loss ahead of the Cubs, 5.5. And the Dodgers, forget about it. The Dodgers, they could just, might as well give them the NL West flag right now. Best record in the sport, 56-31. 12 games up on the Padres, 11 in the loss. I got nothing else to add for you there. And as far as your schedule for the weekend, games today, yeah, Pittsburgh, Philly, Cincinnati, Milwaukee. Oh, Miami, Colorado's today. Oh, they played a 4-game series there. No, it's 3. My bad. Chicago at Cleveland. White Sox, that is. St. Louis at Atlanta, Tampa, Kansas City, Detroit, Texas, L.A. That's the Angels. That's Seattle. San Diego at L.A. That's got to be a 4-game set. No, yes, it is. Well, if the Padres want to make any type of statement, and statement meaning they have to sweep, they got to do it tonight. If not, the division's over anyway, so I don't even know why I'm bringing that up. Maybe just to kind of add a little fire to maybe the schedule. But here's what you got starting tomorrow. St. Louis at the Cubs. Pittsburgh, Washington, Minnesota, New York, as you know. Baltimore at Cincinnati. Chicago, Cleveland, that's a 4-game series. New York at Atlanta. Avert your eyes. San Francisco, Colorado. Tampa at Houston. Boston at the Angels. Miami at the Athletics. Milwaukee, Arizona. San Diego, LA, Toronto, Seattle. A rematch of the ALCS of last year. And that is your baseball. And then lastly, before I get to your comments, I know it's gone a little longer than normal, but break out the tennis racket, Wimbledon. The only really thing to get into, I know Serena, listen, she got to a 3rd set. Maya Joint was her opponent. I believe lost the final set 6-3. What can I tell you? Listen, to take 4 years off, 44 years of age, to play into a 3rd set against an opponent I've never seen. Is that impressive? I mean, you're Serena Williams. Not to say you should have beaten her. And yes, you weren't embarrassed or didn't lose in straight sets, but not a story. Not much of a story in my eyes. And that's not a knock or trying to throw cold water. I see you, Glenn. An Arian throwaway. Yes, this is live. You are watching a live podcast here. And Glenn, I'll get to your comment in a second. But for Serena, I don't know. Is this it? Is she going to come back for the U.S. Open? Was Wimbledon it? I think once upon a time she did say, as much as she loved the U.S. Open, she did feel like Wimbledon would be the one place that she would go off into the sunset. Now, I don't know if that means this is it for her. We'll have to wait and see. But the tournament overall, other than what, Ben Shelton losing in the fifth set there is your only upset so far, which is the antithesis of what we saw at the French Open. A lot of upsets, Jannik Sinner, Novak Djokovic, etc. You're not getting that this time around, which I think is good. Sport needs to have their stars go deep into next week, considering what we saw there last month, where it really ended out with a thud there at Roland Garros, where the All England club right now, everybody's in still. Well, let me double check, because if I check the tennis scores for the day, Serena hurt her knee. All right. Yeah, Coco Gauff and Barbara Krejcikova advance. Nick Kyrgios, I didn't even know he was playing. Swear at the ump, okay. Let's see. Zverev won in straight sets. Players of note. Sinner in straight sets. 2 tiebreak sets, the first 2. Rafael Hodar won in 5 sets. He was down 2-1. He wins the last 2 sets, 6-3, 6-4. Taylor Fritz in straight sets. Sabalenka in straight sets, although the second set was a tiebreak. Coco Gauff survived. 3rd tiebreak set, 10-7. Madison Keys, straight sets. Emma Navarro, 3 sets. Marta Kostyuk, straight sets. Swiatek in straight sets. So everything is pretty much chalk. There isn't anything else that can really players. Now we know Sinner got to 5 sets in the first match, but straight sets today. Alex de Namauer, 3 sets. No, that was on, hold on. That was on Tuesday. Let's see what we got today. Yeah, nothing else to really report. Francis Tiafoe plays in about 10 minutes. Same for Jacob Mensik. Yeah, that's what you got. Nothing else to really get into as far as the Wimbledon goes. And hopefully by Monday, we'll have a little bit of a shift, a change, maybe with some upsets, but that will have to wait and see. Yeah, big week, Ray. I know it's funny you say that. I'll get to Glenn's comment. I'll go back to the comments in a minute. So I'm talking about your comments. Ray, what's up after this next series? My team plays the Rays. Yeah, 4 in Tampa and 3 in Washington. Not an easy schedule. Not easy. So, Washington's over 500. Rays, we all know, in first place. Think about this. Yankees are 5 in the loss now. And the Rays are playing in Houston. Now, Houston, they don't play well in their building, especially in the postseason. Let me take a look real quick. What is Houston's home record? Yeah, they're under 500. I mean, Tampa could go in there and win 2 out of 3. And same for Yankees beating the Twins. 2 out of 3. But that series is huge. Tampa wins 3 games. Not that it's curtains for the Yankees in the division, but if you win 3 out of 4, you gain 2 games in the standings. And remember, the Rays still have, count them, 3 games in hand on the Yankees. So just remember that moving forward. But very interesting series next week. All right, Glenn. Yankees will make some moves soon. Yeah, it is going in that direction. I don't know, because if they'll end up with the worst record, Right now, you're looking at who? The Royals and the Rockies in particular. Rockies 34-53. Yeah, if the Mets end up with the worst record, how does Stearns not get fired? Oh my God. No, the Yankees will make moves, but they're going to make the right moves. Camilo Doval, I get it. Boone's probably had it with him. Comes in the 10th inning, walks 3 guys. Yeah, the Yankees, what they need. Let's face it. Bednar is okay. I'm not in love with him. What are they going to do with Anthony Volpe? They should just trade Volpe at this point. Trade him, keep Caballero there. George Lombard Jr. is the guy that's going to be your everyday shortstop. So Caballero could keep the seat warm before Lombard gets here. You would think as early as maybe a September call-up, but certainly next year. Volpe's not the guy. But yeah, I think the Yankees will be all right. What is this, Waffle Iron? Waffle Iron Walrus, a.k.a. Tatsuya Mai, Minnesota Fats, Fuqua Johnson, Kai Bowie Bull, Dad Ships, Everyday Mets, Jonathan Sean Cup. Was OG Anunoby throwing it first? Which he did on Sunday, yes. 4 games in September against the Rays will be big. Yeah, that's the next to last series of the season, I believe. And those 4 games, that's one of them because of the makeup game last month when the Rays were here. Yeah, no, Volpe's. Let me see. All right, let me scroll up to get a better feel for these comments. All right. Yeah, Val. Yeah, it does look like a video game. Jaylen Brown traded 76ers yesterday. How do I feel? Val, how do you think? Derek White. All right, the novice. 8 to 10 teams in the mix. Celtics called. I'll never understand this trade. Uborg is headed to the Bruins. Yeah, that's let's see, head scratcher. Mr. Lucky, I don't know if he's still here. I know Vic. Yeah, what was this one? The novice. The face of Nike or is going to Oregon. All right. I don't think the Lakers will go after Rui. Wait, hold on. Did I skip that? Yeah, I don't think they'll go after Rui either, their bio. The team that reported Kawhi stuff. Yeah. You would think. But Steve Ballmer needs to be penalized for that, though. Oh, Keegan Colasar. Oh, Red Wings, really? Wow. Red Wings want to make some hay here. What's this? Chapman Day 10. No, I'm not aware of that, Val. I think I know what you're referring to, but Brooklyn G isn't a G. He's flamboyant. LeBron at 76 is a nice destination. That's the thing. What's in his head? Where does he want to go? Yes, he is, Val. That's Podziemski of the Warriors. Right. Yeah, I can see that. No, you're right about that. Bio. Absolutely. With Tobias Harris there. Yeah. Yeah, the Hornets fan would have offered you Brandon Miller, Grant Miller, who would come back. You know what? That wouldn't have been a bad trade. I would have certainly, listen, much better than what they got now. That I agree. LeBron going back to Cleveland? I don't think so, like I mentioned earlier. Could be Roma, probably. And listen, you wouldn't be, that's not out of the realm of possibility. I don't know. I just don't see it happening. What's crazy is LeBron actually has to wait. Yeah. Yep, you're right by 100%. Rangers have acquired. Marcus Pedersen. Yeah, I know. Didn't they sign to a long? Oh, no, that's Elias Pedersen I'm thinking of, maybe. Yep, good one here, Val. Vincent Trocheck. Yeah, we talked about that. LeBron is Jason Station 2. This won't be his last season. Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not his last season. So, did he say Shannon Sharp? Let's see. What's this? Oh, there it is. The YouTube video. Yeah. Not good. Definitely not good for me. I mean, what was he thinking? Yep, Boone Jenner saw that. All right. Yeah, we know about that. Wilbur Skrook. Do you have to throw the Red Wings in that mix? I mean, geez. Show us on next. All right. I know. My glasses. All right, here we go. Jaylen Brown had 3 years of control remaining. Could have waited for the right. Exactly. And I know Donavis yesterday said that, they waited too late, which I can see where he's coming from. But again, if there were 8 to 10 teams, I can see there were 2 or 3 teams, and they just took the best of what they thought was the best offer. I know he's not going to say much, but that Brad Stevens press conference can't come any faster. Yeah. We shall see. Yep, Scott Lawton. LA, we talked about that. Rasmus Anderson. Maple Leafs. Glenn Sharp. Volpe can't hit, period. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of his bat either. Yes. You know what? You're right. Waffle Iron. It was Waffle Iron Whale. Yes. Should have known better. Keeps me on my toes. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, yeah, you're going to see a lot. If anything, you're going to see more trades than you would signings. Jaylen Brown said, yeah. You're right. Yeah, I like that trade, but at least you got to like it considering who they've had in net over the last few years. But Bobrovsky, you wonder if he has anything left considering these last 3 years, really 4 years. You want to include this year, but they didn't make the playoffs. But Waffle Iron, what is this? Jeffrey Yon. No, yeah. After every strikeout, come on. Sounds like a Met signing. It was 8 since he was at the Celtics. Called. Oh. Yep, you're right about that, Val. Let me go back to the novice here. 8 times that the Celtics called. Nights. Right. Was there ever a thought for Brad Stevens in the front office to maybe sit down with Jaylen Brown? I'm sure it was a foregone conclusion after the Twitch streams and killing the refs and Embiid. They said, well, that's our reason to trade him. And listen, I don't have a problem with them trading Jaylen Brown. Do I like it? No, but I understand why. And especially, as I said earlier, his stock is as high as it's going to be. Try to get as much as you can back. I mean, that's like, think about this. What about those old days in the school luncheons? I got peanut butter and jelly. And you want to get, I don't know, ham and cheese or bologna? To me, that's what this was. It's like, wow, I got a roast beef hero for a buttered roll. That's what this trade was. Oh, yeah. Please release us from the truth. Jordan can score. Overrated and helped by. All right, where did that come from? Wait, this is a whole stream of. Hold on. All right, why do you feel this way? Please release us from the truth. And he put it in like 5-6 times in a row. Okay. Obviously, this guy's a big LeBron fan, which, all right, it's fine. Because someone inserted MJ. Hold on a second. Hold on, please release us. In fact, where are you from? Please release us. I want to know. Oh, how about I'll just call you the truth? Somebody mentioned MJ before. Yeah, I was more like Michael Jackson. Oh, Mark Sammons. Probably Jordan could still score better than most. Because he can average America. Okay. I take it you're a big LeBron fan. The truth. Yes or no? Yeah, I'm trying to. Sorry for what? Well, the 5 in a row. That's all right. I appreciate you hopping on board, chiming in. Oh, listen, we know that. But that was the respect. Hey, listen, if you ask me, I mean, we're not going to get into the GOAT discussion, but. And nobody's knocking LeBron, but anyway, go on. All right. Oh, listen, Jordan, hey. Seen it, watched it. They're paid. See, I'm not a Jordan fan. I mean, listen, how can I not be a fan of what he's done for the league, et cetera? But, hey, I hear you. Wait, what was this? Hold on. Oh, Val. Oh, that is accurate, Val. Yes, not happy indeed. 1,000%. Not happy indeed. Now, I don't know if there are any MJ fans in here. They're paid. If they are paid, what are they getting paid? So, all right. Is there anything else happening in sports that just popped up? Somebody else signed somewhere? Let's take a look. I mean, this is. Should I even bring this up? I have to bring this up. Yeah, this. I'm not saying it's gonna pain me. I mean, this isn't really sports talk, but because I live here and I wonder why. Uh-oh, what's this? You know when his name pops up. Listen, if there's anybody that's praise LeBron, especially on this channel, it's me. When he's gone from the league, everybody's going to realize how much they miss him. And listen, LeBron is an immortal. He's not an all-time great. He's an immortal. Without question. It's even dumb to have a LeBron hate take. Yeah, you want to say who's the GOAT? And we talk about that all the time. And I said not to get into that, but yeah, LeBron doesn't have to take a backseat to anybody. Obviously, it's preference as to who that person feels is the GOAT in their eyes. But chairman of Double Straight 10 games IL. No, that's not good. Val. Not a huge LeBron fan, but he plays such a high level. So no, absolutely. Listen, absolutely. LeBron, you know this. He's way better. He's a way better dad, and everybody knows it, than Jordan. I mean, I guess you could say that. I mean, I don't know. Was Jordan bad on his kids? We know about the Juanita and all that, but no one's the GOAT. MJ the GOAT. Please, you could argue Kareem is the GOAT. Could argue it. But, no, like you said, Glenn, plays at a high level so many years. I mean, please, the guy's 41 years old, and he's averaging 27 and almost 6 assists a game at 41. No, that's all right, Val. You're forgiven. LeBron and Steph Curry. And only the Knicks were the only team that would increase your ratings and interest. For a decade. Is that true? Yeah, the ratings in those finals, I'd have to go back. Yeah, they weren't great. The Golden State Cleveland finals. No, and obviously the Knicks, they became a national story. That's why the ratings were through the roof. And kudos to them. The Knicks, that is. On the brink of bankruptcy, MJ. Listen. And obviously people bought that. And obviously Jordan was the biggest star in the league. I mean, I can't kill the NBA, and that's David Stern. Let's call it as we see it. Waffle irons reading my mind. But yeah, of course they're going to try to sell that overseas. I can't knock them for that. But I understand where you're coming from. So countries paid. They should let him win. Yeah. Imagine MJ losing out in the playoffs. I guess you're not counting the 2 years in Washington. How much more easy the finals? Now, listen, they played good teams in those years. Maybe not in the finals, although Seattle, listen, Utah was good. Seattle won 64 games when that 72-10 season. Phoenix was good. Barkley won the MVP, 93. And the East was no joke. They had to get by the Knicks. Even that 93 Knicks team, they should have gone to the finals. Maybe not the Heat. Orlando, of course, beat him in 95 when Jordan came back and then swept them in 96. Pacers in 98. Wait, how much more to championships? They won 6. Is that what you're getting at? They have to feed him. Spoon feeding? Well, listen, if he's the biggest player on the planet at the time, of course they're going to try to spoon feed him. This man has no competition. You mean to tell me those Knicks Bulls series weren't competitive? Or Indiana, especially in 98 when they were going for their second three-peat? Jazz's Pelicans with Davis. And listen, Utah did have Stockton and Malone, although Malone was never a big-time player in big spots. But listen, I understand where you're coming from. Now, I was actually going to get to this, but thank you for this one, Waffle Iron. I know the Swifties are going to get all mad at me now. Am I excited for Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce's wedding? Well, what I was about to say prior to was, I can't believe I'm going to bring this up. Is this really sports? Blah, blah, blah. But because it's in my city, does it affect me? No. It would affect me if I'm trying to get into Manhattan tomorrow, which I'm not. Coincide that with the 4th of July. And people want to see fireworks. And please get me out of my neighborhood because there's going to be fireworks all over the place where I'm going to be up all hours of the night, 4 a.m. with blockbusters. People have no sense. You know, they think that just because it's July 4th, they can put off fireworks at 4 a.m. I mean, oh. I digress. But am I excited for Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce? To answer that question, Waffle Iron, I am not. Number one. Number two, why are they having this at Madison Square Garden? Why is the Garden a venue to have a wedding? Sly Stone had a wedding, although he was performing in concert. I think it was 1974. But we know Sly Stone was a character, to say the least. Rest in peace, Sly Stone. But why? Why can't they just have a normal big-time ceremony out in the Hamptons? Maybe they want to have it enclosed where obviously security, they're not going to have paparazzi or the helicopters flying over to take pictures. That's probably the reason why. To me, it makes more sense to have it done at Arrowhead. I guess they can't because of the soccer. I mean, they could do whatever they want, but, only MJ could dribble and dunk. I could dunk like him too. Oh, yeah? Now, you're saying he's overrated, Jordan? Let me ask you this. The truth. If you had one player to take a last-second shot for your life, a guy that you know is going to deliver, I understand not every time, but a guy that you know that you have 1,000% confidence in, to give the ball to that, no ifs, ands, buts, babies about it. You're giving it to Jordan or LeBron? To me, that is no debate, because the assassin's DNA is in Jordan. Can't say that's in LeBron. Reggie Miller is my last second shot. That's good. Waffle Line, that's a good choice. You need to see the clip with Sly Stone and Ali on the Mike Douglas. Oh, yeah, I saw that. Yep. I didn't see the whole clip. I saw parts of it because I did see the documentary that was made by Questlove. And I love Sly and the Family Stone growing up. Bio, I see you. Yeah. That's a good one, Glenn. I like that. Curry, Damian Lillard. Yeah, listen, you could argue Curry. Although, how did Game 7 in 2016 turn out against your guy, LeBron? Curry was awful in that game. And Damian Lillard, he's a sharpshooter, but I don't want to see Dame time after beating Oklahoma City in the first round. Let me see that in a conference final where he got spanked by Golden State, I might add. And I like Lillard, and I understand I'm talking about last second shot, regular season, but Lillard, I need to see that when the money's really on the line, not in February against Sacramento or in a first round series against Oklahoma City. Against Paul George, I might add. There you go. And I got news for you. If he's asking me, who do I want with the ball last second, Kobe, LeBron? There is no argument. Black Mamba, where you at? I hear you, Glenn. Many more, mate. Kobe, a lot more. Oh, so you're taking a lot more guys to take the last second shot. The only reason why I bring that up with LeBron, the truth, is because, and I know this is more about Jordan and LeBron. It has nothing to do with Kobe or you want to pick a million other people. I get that. But when you say he's overrated, that I disagree. How's he overrated? Durant, do I want him taking the last second shot? All right, you weren't saying LeBron. I get that, but listen, I like Durant a lot. How about this? Give me Larry Bird for a last second shot. I take him over Durant. And I take him over LeBron too, last second shot. I get it. I know Biles going to start smiling here. Game 4, 87 finals, where he made the big shot to take the lead to 3, and then had the other 3 where it bounced off the back rim. Oh. The baby hook. Happy Barbara Day for all that celebrates. Oh, yeah. That was yesterday. Okay, then treat people like MJ. Brett gets fouled. Easy 60 in all game. Listen, I get it. And LeBron doesn't get all the calls. I understand that if we're going back to the whole LeBron thing. I don't know. Say he's overrated, though. How about this? The truth. I got one for you. I got 2 for you. Maybe 3. Is James Harden overrated? How about this? This may be blasphemous, but let's call it like we see it also. Now, he's an all-time great. And listen, nobody's saying that James Harden's not an all-time great scorer. Nobody's. But if he's on your team, do you trust him with your life on the line? Same for Paul George on a lesser degree. How about Chris Paul? And I like Chris Paul as a player. But he's another one in big spots. Shrinks. You know, couldn't shoot a clutch on it. You're right about that. You're not even talking about LeBron. But that you started the whole. I know you're talking about MJ, but you're also throwing in LeBron in there too as well. I got you. All right, so we'll stick to MJ then. Overrated. All right. So no more LeBron talk. Yeah, Jason Kidd. Although it's crazy with Jason Kidd. You know, he's up. I believe he's in the top 5 or 7 all time in 3-point shooting. But was not a good shooter. All-time 3-point shooters. If I had to take a guess now, because people have passed him, like Harden, I'm going to say he's like 7th. Oh, no, he's further down the list than I thought. Woo! Yeah, oh, because you got guys like Tim Hardaway Jr. and Buddy Hield. Wow, he's shot that many 3-pointers? Kyle Lowry, I know he's been around forever. Wow, look, I said 7th. Man, I underestimated that. All-time 3-point shooters. Jason Kidd is 20th. I remember, now mind you, these are the guys who's passed him. Tim Hardaway Jr., Eric Gordon, CJ McCollum, and he's good, but Buddy Hield, Jason Terry, Jamal Crawford, I know they've been long retired. Vince Carter's played forever. Durant, Paul George. But just the thing that Jason Kidd's in the top 20 in 3-point shooting. Meanwhile, he is not a big-time 3-point shooter. But no, I agree with you on that, Glenn. Let's see. Donavis. Jordan. Yeah. Bullseye. You're right about that. And overrated. All right. Yeah, now Bird. Durant will dribble in his face. Yeah, we're talking about second shots. But you mean to tell me Bird played in his day? Yo, Bird was gone. You dribble in his face, but you know what? Bird, who couldn't even jump over a deck of cards. And listen, Durant has better. He has better scoring numbers than Bird. But you could argue whether or not Bird is better than Durant. Durant doesn't pass like Bird. Doesn't even rebound like Bird. Look that up. I don't know how old you are, the truth. In my eyes, Bird is the second greatest small forward in the history of the sport. I don't care how many points Kevin Durant scores. He can score 80,000 points. For one game, you want Durant or Bird? And how's Durant done the last few years? And I want to hear, oh, he's 36, 37. Durant, ever since he left Brooklyn, fizzled in Phoenix big time. So he got swept by teams. And Bird got swept once by the Bucks in 83. All right, everybody gets swept. I get that. But for a guy who has a hired gun, and nobody's knocking his talent, his ability. Bird had the Jordan, Kobe DNA in him. Can't say Durant does. I want Jaylen Brown to take the last shot. Hey, listen, I can't argue that, Waffle Iron. MJ, super team, super coach, super NBA feeding him. Super team, super coach. Listen, I can't disagree with that, but then what do you say about the Lakers of the early 2000s? Or the Warriors? Let's see. James Harden, great of it. No, zero defense. I think he's still, his carcass is still outside Madison Square Garden after that game 1 against the Knicks in the conference final. Grade 8 staying for another year. Ovechkin, there you go. No surprise. Good one there, Val. Hold on. If I can have Jordan take the final shot, I would 100% take Kobe over LeBron. Yeah. They cannot dribble. Yeah, but obviously the game was different back then. But even it has nothing to do with dribbling. Bird was all about head fakes, pump fakes. He would make Kevin Durant look like a pretzel. If Bird was standing at the top of the key, whatever, this, shoulder, fake the pass, Durant would commit, Bird has a shot. Guile. He didn't need to beat anybody off the dribble. Did not. Go watch the highlights. I watched those games. I remember. Has nothing to do with dribbling. Never thought OU had the most goal. I know. Who would have thought that? Yeah, NJ last shot because zero competition. Who? Stockton, the only guy that shooting guard him. I mean, Stockton's only one of the top 5 point guards of all time. And that's indisputable. Don't even get at me with, oh, that's nonsense. No. Bro, too many shooters today. MJ's time. Oh, the game is different. The game's all about 3-point shooting today. Yeah, no, they're great shooters today. I'm not going to disagree with you on that. Definitely not. But I have to tell you, I don't want to make this, the players are yesteryear, but I don't want to do that. But yeah, a lot of these are catch and shoot shooters. Everything is attacking the paint and then kicking it out. Come on, you mean to tell me a Bird played today? Bird averaged 35 in his sleep. And then no hand checking and all that? Jeez. So Durant and Bird's Day. Cannot. What do you mean by that? Oh, you mean if Durant was playing back then? I will tell you this. If Durant ever went to the basket, he'd get hacked. You mean to tell me that Durant's going to the basket, Bill Laimbeer is going to pile drive him to the ground with John Sally and Dennis Rodman and Charles Oakley and going down the list. That's not to say Durant could play in any era. That's not the argument. We're talking about last shot. Yeah, last shot. I'd take Jordan. I'd take Kobe. I'd take Bird. Those would be my top 3 guys. Durant was like Bob McAdoo of longevity. Yeah, he had length and had a smooth game, Bob McAdoo. I remember. Buffalo Braves, Knicks, Lakers. Absolutely. Thank you, Bio. And the novice rebounding is a lost art. What's the immortal words of Pat Riley? No rebounds, no rings. And the thing with Durant, he's a scorer. He's a guy that could get his shot anywhere on the court. You haven't seen a guy almost 7 foot to have his handle, all that. I know how great he is. I'm not saying that towards you, Bio. Obviously, you know. I'm not trying to shortchange Durant, but Bird was 2 steps ahead of everybody on the court. No doubt, Ray, anytime. Bird can't even win against MJ, so Bird out. Yeah, what do you mean he can't win against MJ? Did you see the 86 first round? And you could say, all right, Jordan was his 3rd year, and I get he scored 63 in the Boston Garden, but what happened in that series? Yeah, you're right, so let's not talk about him. Okay. That's it. And you know what's funny? I'd rather have the guy that has the DNA that could create his own shot. Put it this way, and we'll take it even to current players. Life on your line. And listen, he had bad shooting in the finals. You taking Jaylen Brunson or you taking James Harden? James Harden doesn't have an ounce of the DNA that's in Jaylen Brunson's pinky finger. I mean, that's all there is to it. Give me the guy with the DNA. And we can go in any sport with that. G to A-Rod. A-Rod had all his power numbers, the stats, the this, the that. Jeter, all he knew was winning. Give me the assassin. Give me that guy. That's what I want. I understand you're not going to have 11 assassins or 12 assassins or whatever. But you're right, the novice. Didn't have the athleticism. But the guy, what were his averages? I got to pull these up now. I should know this off the top of my head. What was he, 24, 10, and 7 maybe? In the 80s. Larry Joe Bird. (24, 3, 10, and 6 were his averages. And one more time, the guy couldn't jump over a deck of cards. And played against Irving, Bobby Jones, Moses Malone, Magic, Kareem, Worthy, Jordan, Isaiah, Dumars. Come on. I mean, who are we kidding? Who are we kidding here? And they lost to a Buck team that had Sidney Moncrief, Marcus Johnson. Who else was on that team? Those Bucks teams were good. Weren't great, but they were very good. They swept them in 83. Now, I know there's a lot going on with the Celtics then, but that's no excuse. So, yeah. That's the thing. The further we get along from these eras, that's why I mentioned Kareem. You can argue him being the GOAT. The further we get past these eras, that these players are forgotten. As long as I'm doing this, as long as I'm sitting in front of this microphone, like I say a million times, as long as I'm doing this, there is no way that I'm going to forget those guys. Never. And even if it goes back to baseball, people want to say, oh, Shohei Ohtani. And I love Ohtani. And Bio, we've gone back and forth on this, and respectfully, of course. And there's no shade on Ohtani. None. And he has black type, or whatever. But when you look at Babe Ruth, the guy who saved baseball, and you look at Lou Gehrig and Ted Williams and Hank Aaron and Willie Mays, and you can even go Rogers Hornsby. Hank Greenberg. And you look, Hannes Wagner. Look at all those numbers. And when you go onto their page on Baseball Reference and you see nothing but black type, I mean, that's not greatness. That's immortal. And that's what gets forgotten. And don't worry, I'm not going to go down that road again. But when you hear players get into the Hall of Fame in this day and age, Andrew Jones in baseball. Oh, Draymond Green's going to be a Hall of Famer. Those guys don't belong in the same room as Babe Ruth and Kareem and George Mikan and Bob Pettit, Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain. I mean, who are we kidding? Oh, my God. It's walking, carrying, palming. It's everything. Breaking news, Jay said, no, I say he should go there. I'm not saying he's going there, but I mean, it's on the bottom of my heart when I'm about to say next. I'm not really scared of nobody in the East. I would have been more scared if the Celtics gotten a grief. Yeah, exactly. Me, just a street baller. No, but nobody's knocking those guys, though. Nobody's knocking Durant, Curry, and LeBron. The truth. Give me a range. Can you tell me how old you are? I'm curious. Just give me an idea. Probably Cleveland could be wrong. At least admit it. No, I know we talked about this yesterday, Mark. And for those in the room for the first time, if you haven't subscribed, I see I got Baker's Dozen in the room. I appreciate you for stopping by. But, yes, thank you, Bio. I know it was only they only played in one time in 86, because obviously after that, 87, 88, obviously we know what happened there. Yeah, and even in the later years, because they lost to the Pacers in his last year. They lost to the Pistons in 91. Yeah. Could not. So if Durant gets hacked, even Bill, Oakley, Rodman, etc., so Durant won't be in the free throw? Yeah, but again, it's also mindset too. And we know Durant. Now listen, Durant, I don't know how mentally tough Durant is. Let's call it as we see it. And this is on the court. It had nothing to do with off the court and Twitter world and all that. He has such immense talent that could supersede him being intimidated on the court. Nobody's tried him on the court. I'm not saying try like fighting. I'm not going that route. But let's be honest. Durant would still play great in that era. But you mean to tell me that Dennis Rodman's not going to try to get in his head? You mean to tell me that Bill Laimbeer's not going to try to get in his head? Or those guys that you mentioned? And we don't know what type of mental fortitude that Durant has to where, and I just want to hoop. But yeah, that hoop's going to come at a cost. How about the Jordan rules? And I want to go back to Jordan again, all right? But they try to get in his head. I'm sure, I don't know how old you are, if you watch the games or not. I've watched those games where Jordan is flying after fouls, Joe Dumars arm hooking, doing everything. Whatever it took. Charles Oakley fighting Rick Mahorn because Mahorn slammed him to the Chicago Stadium floor. Jordan said, dust it up and kept it moving. Would Durant do that? We'll never know, but that's the difference. Barkley's another guy. Would have to take Ja Morant and put him to the sun? Yeah. He is. Volume shooter. Kobe over Jordan all day. Kobe can shoot threes. Yeah, he can. And Jordan wasn't, obviously, here's the thing. Jordan was never a great shooter. Never. And he had a lot of bad shooting games against the Knicks. I remember I think the game that they clinched in 93, if I go back, was he like 12 for 32? He had terrible shooting games. Not a great shooter, but you need a basket. Chamberlain and Russell still leading rebounds playing a shorter season. I mean, and then now obviously Chamberlain and Russell before my time, and I believe Glenn, you'd seen them, and I could go back on highlights and just go to the basketball reference page. I mean, I laugh when people say, oh, Chamberlain played against nobody. He only played against Russell like 140 times. And I've said this many times. You may have been on, Glenn, when we talked about it, but for somebody to I take that back. For somebody to have 55 rebounds in a game, I mean, think about that, 55. And he did it against Russell. I don't know. Bio was right. The moment the NBA was on the brink of bankruptcy, they promoted MJ. No, let me see. I know. Wait, Bio did say so. I must have skipped that. Yeah, I know. Bio puts his. Hold on. I thought I overlooked another comment. If I skipped that, Bio, my apologies. Hold on. And I will say the truth. I like what you're contributing here. I'm straight up. I do. This is good. This is why I have this channel. Back and forth. Agree, disagree, debate. That's what it's all about. And we're amongst excellent sports fans. This is no Fisher-Price, prisoner of the moment, recency bias type of, although I know we're back and forth with the whole Jordan thing. I get that. But this is what it's all about. I love it. I can stay on here for days talking about this. But wait a minute. Now, you got to remember this. In the early 80s, who saved the NBA? Well, David Stearns was one, but Bird and Magic saved the NBA. Because in the late 70s, when a lot of the players were starting to go towards recreational drugs, and attendance was terrible throughout the sport, because even though Kareem went to LA, but yeah, I remember in the late 70s, LA, before Magic got there, they were good, but they didn't win. The Supersonics were actually the better team out west. Them in Portland, when Bill Walton was the 1 year in 77, then broke his foot and he was done as far as being that impact great player. But LA was in the postseason, but again, they didn't start getting good until Magic got there. And then when Bird went to Boston, listen, do I even need to get into that? And then when Jordan arrived, and obviously how he was marketed through Nike and Air Jordan, and he was the guy that literally became the marketing dynamo that no other player prior or, and I'm talking about team sports, because guys like Muhammad Ali, whatever, different story, but took it to another level. And then obviously in the 90s, once Magic and Bird were gone, of course, like you said earlier, Jordan is the guy that they're going to be the poster boy for the NBA. And what really took it to bigger heights wasn't just what you said earlier. It was the Dream Team, 92. Because when the NBA players were able to play, and Jordan was the forefront of that, Barcelona, 92 Olympics, that's when his legend really took off from a global standpoint. Because we knew how great he was here in the States, and he already won 2 titles at that point, but it was because the Dream Team, that's when, we got to bank on this. Because if not, we're going to lose out. And that's what we could argue. But that didn't come until the 90s, not the 80s. Here I'm sounding like a professor giving history lessons, but that's a fact. But people who don't follow me in the chat, I appreciate a follow. Yes, follow Ray Condi. Go to his YouTube channel. I'm telling you. Huge Yankee fan, Knick fan. Definitely want to follow him. Would you get upset if Jaylen Brown took a 50% discount to play for the Sixers? I can't say I would, but I know what you mean. That's never going to happen. I wouldn't get upset. To me, the Celtics botched this. Ah. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset. A-Rod had one great playoff. Yeah, 2009. Otherwise, yeah, he was awful. Agreed. Hakeem the Dream. Yeah, Hakeem was, listen, fantastic. Nobody's going to knock Hakeem. He's an all-time great. J-Rod, uh-oh. The brooms are out. And there's Ray. Yeah, please click on that. Follow him. Greetings, J-Rod. Kobe over Jordan? No. Kobe mimicked Jordan great. Jordan so great. Listen, there isn't anything in those sentences that you said, Mark, that I can't disagree with. 100%. Mention everything, yet you cannot erase the fact MJ was helped. Spoon feeding. Helped by what, though? I know you said super team, super coach. Well, listen, right place at the right time. What could you say? Same for Phil Jackson when he got to L.A., which is a fact. It's the truth. Once he came in, triangle with Kobe, Shaq. Iceman Gervin. He was great, too. Kareem is better than MJ 110%. Listen, that is a very good debate. With that. Yes, Bio. Absolutely. Yes, yes, yes. You know what? The truth, I got news for you. I can't totally disagree with that. Kareem takes a backseat to no one. Nobody. And listen, you could even argue. And hear me out. This isn't a hot take. We're talking about basketball career, not NBA. One more time. Not NBA. Entire basketball career. And you can say, well, LeBron never went to college, so of course, all right, but that's part of it. And I get it. Kareem at age 40 in his last year was averaging 10 points a game, where LeBron at 41 is averaging 20. But hear me out. You could argue that Kareem is the best basketball player that ever lived. 3 titles in college, 6 MVPs, 6 titles, 1 with the Bucks, I might add. Had the all-time career scoring record until LeBron broke it, as we know. He takes a backseat to no one, in my eyes. And if people want to argue he's better, you probably know my slant is more toward Jordan anyway. But you know what? If you're going to argue that maybe not 110% better, but you want to say, yeah, Kareem is better than Jordan, I can't tell you you're crazy, you're nuts, hell no. No. I know how great Kareem was. Much different game. It happens in every sport. Sadly, it happens in every sport. And this is why, and I've said this a million times over, and I'll say it one more time. The Spurs should throw all the analytics out the window. And you would think at this very moment, Victor Wembanyama is working with Hakeem Olajuwon or David Robinson or Tim Duncan or Kevin McHale or whatever it is, whomever it is, and work on his game to the point where he should be dominating. I get it. He's this pipe cleaner. He's thin as can be. But let's face it. If Wembanyama's in the lab, he's not going to bulk up like Shaq. No way. But if he has just a little bit more meat on his body and develops a post game, there should be no reason why he can't dominate from the low block. That's it. Yeah, 80s were better. You had run and gun. You had offenses flowed a lot better. Please, even the Denver Nuggets in the 80s were exciting. I get in the altitude, but they were high scoring. Kiki Vandeweghe, Alex English, T.R. Dunn. Those were good teams. They weren't great. They didn't win a title, but even to watch them were exciting. Until MJ starts winning, when NBA helped them lose. Yeah, all right. Kareem over Jordan, that's funny. That's not my choice. If anybody's going to pick him, I can't disagree because Kareem was great. I mean, Oh, no doubt there, man. I got to catch up on these comments. Where am I at? 12:55? Yeah, I'm 14 minutes behind. Hang on, guys. Steve, I don't know what he's talking about. And quite frankly, what he's saying is probably drivel anyway. Mays was the best 5'2" player I've ever seen. Willie Mays. I can't disagree with that. What is this? Oh, no, Akiari from the Flyers. Mays will come out of nowhere to catch a ball, also catch a fastball behind his bare hands. Yeah, and Mays, he always played shallow. Look at the Vic Wertz catch, 54 World Series, game 1. Young cats don't understand that Jordan won late 80s, early 90s. He played in today's NBA. The records be so far to reach. I can't disagree with you on that there, J-Rod. 2 or 3 or 5 would get better. And for those who say the old one's better than now. I know. Could you imagine if those players back then had the nutrition, were flying instead of commercial, they're flying private everywhere? Forget about it. But we can't. I mean, I understand this is what we talk sports. It's a fun debate, but, Can't like Kobe and not like Jordan's. Absolutely. I agree. Today's NBA will do the same. They will not kill players. Players are stronger. When would you understand? We're making monsters. Yeah, we're making monsters, but yeah, they are stronger, they are bigger, etc., but they don't play as physical as they did back then. That's a fact. Too much fraternizing. A lot of these players are brands. They don't want to get in the muck and the dirt, and they don't want to do that. I mean, come on. Dylan Brooks is your guy that you're going to fear, and no shade on him, but please. You mean today's NBA players will do the same? They will not kill players. No, nobody's hacking anybody. Now, these are 2 washed players. The one is, rest in peace, Jerome Kersey. There was a play in the late 80s, early 90s. Oh, yeah, I can go to the the McHale clothesline on Kurt Rambis. But there were a lot of those type of plays back then. Benoit Benjamin on Jerome Kersey. I mean, a literal clothesline. Who's clotheslining anybody in the NBA today? No one. Please, Robert Parrish took 3 punches like this, where he was going up for a rebound. Lane Beer's under him. I think it was game 5, 87 playoffs. Was it game 5? No, maybe game 2. I should know this. I think it was game 5. 87 playoffs. He's going up for a rebound. He's coming down, and Lane Beer, elbows and everything, where Robert Parrish, those 3 punches like that, he didn't even get ejected. That happened today. That's a flagrant 2. You're out. Bye. I just turned 40 in April. I've seen a lot of sports in my life. Hey, Ray, are you an Aries? Answer that one. I'll catch up on the comments. Seen a lot of sports in my life. That's why I always jokingly say I'm the curse of the New York Mets, because I was 5 months old the last time you see me. Yeah. The Mets. Love Kobe, hated Jordan. Magic Johnson fan. Yep. Never owned a pair of Jordans. I wore Magic's Converse. I actually had a pair of Magic Converse too. I know they had the bird ones too, but somebody as a gift, because they thought, I didn't want to wear them, but I didn't want to that's true story. I got a pair in 84. I got a pair of those Magic Converses. I don't know. One of my aunts got them, and she goes, I thought these were the Larry Birds. They don't know anything. And I'm like, no, the birds are green. They're more black, but that's all right. What was I going to do? Throw them in her face? I don't want them. So I had to take them. Hold on. Yeah, I know. I asked his age range. Russell won 11 titles. Unbelievable. Yeah. Trying to keep you busy? No, I appreciate that. I really do. I really do, the truth. I'm not taking, never personal. Never. What we're talking about is strictly business. Oh, never personal. So I appreciate that. Much respect, the truth. No, I know you're not coming out here trying to, no. And I love it. This is the whole point of my channel. I put out 2 live podcasts. So Monday, Thursday, just so you know, I talk about what's going on in sports in the first hour. The next hour, I get to you guys. I do a Wednesday live stream at 12 noon Eastern time. And that's more of a back and forth. I'll talk about certain topics, whatever. And then I'll read the comments throughout. So I love this. Yeah, I mean, this is why I do this. Full time, I might add. So to this day, I won't ever. Yeah. You know what? And that's a funny thing, too. In 94, I got gifted a pair of Air Jordans. That was the year that Jordan had retired and gone to play baseball. I forgot what that. I think that's were those the 11s? It may have been the 11s. And listen, I didn't hate Jordan. I can understand why you do. I never really hated Michael Jordan. And I wasn't a Nike guy either. I wore Reebok back in the day. I never liked Nike. To me, it was just like capitalistic, whatever. But for that summer, I wore them. Or those two summers, 94, 95. And yeah, whatever. But those are my Jordan and my Converse stories. What's this? My team has a bucket getter. His name is the Finals MVP, Jaylen Brown. Yeah, can't disagree with you there. I don't want to say it's over, but it's closing. And fast. After that trade yesterday. But I'm a Pistons fan. I hated Jordan. Oh, I can see that. No, I definitely see that, J-Rod. I can see why you can't stand him. I never said the NBA back was in the 90s. It was Magic Birds. Yep, absolutely. I know. I got to catch up on these. But I also watched basketball like crazy in the 90s. What Jordan did was insane. Absolutely. Bird grade. I'm catching up, guys. Watched the 80s Lake 5 on tape delay. Yep, that's how bad the NBA was. It was, yep, on tape delay. 11:30. CBS. Jordan made 25 game-winning shots and missed 26. Yeah, exactly. I know, which is insane when you think about it. MJ Magic Bird. Remember when Portland drafted Sam Bowie? They could have had MJ and Glad. Yeah, exactly. Well, Drexler was in the next draft. Yeah, 94, that was, at the time, Hakeem, not Hakeem. Hakeem 1, Bowie 2, Jordan 3. Yeah, Drexler, I think, was in the 85 draft. Yeah, because wait a minute. No, he may have come out in that draft, 84. Oh, no, Drexler was 83, wasn't he? After they lost to NC State, he may have been out in 83. I got to look that up. Phi Slamma Jamma, for those who are unaware. Who was in Phi Slamma Jamma? The four main guys. There's your trivia question. I know you're going to look it up now, but that's right. Well, I'll spare you. Michael Young and Larry Michaud. Yeah, 83. Wow, it was 14th overall. Wow. 83 draft. Let me see. Who else was Sampson, Stepanovich, Byron Scott, San Diego Clippers. And then got traded for Norm Nixon, I believe. Sidney Green, Thurl Bailey, Antoine Carr, Dale Ellis. Wow. All these guys went ahead. Jeff Malone, Derek Harper, Darrell Walker. Knicks could have had Clyde Drexler. Wow. All right. 14th overall in 83. Jeez. Let's see. Oh, yeah, definitely at that time. When NJ pops up online, Dick Rice. All right, search these people. Yeah, but you know, it's the people who watch in that era and the players, they're still going to exalt Jordan. You know. I remember going to Paso Robles, Brazil, kids watching Bad Boys play. Yes. J-Rod, MJ was awesome in the 90s, but living in SoCal, we grew up with 5 rings and Magic had cream in the 80s. Yep. Absolutely. That's an understatement, Ray. Oh, geez. Beyond. Let's not let facts get in the way of a good debate. That's right. The Stephen A approach. Thank you, Val. Stephen A. Man, I tell you, I would get thrown off of that set. If I ever got across them, they say, hey, we want you to come in as a guest. I have to say, but can I speak my mind? Because if I'm not, then I'm wasting my time. But they're going to be like, no. Please, they put Cameron up there, and I got news for you. Can I say this? I don't know Cameron. I know he's from Harlem. Dipset, not a fan of. But I know he's been on, I've seen some clips where he's been on First Take, and ESPN has the nerve to put Cameron, rapper, podcaster, sports analyst. Let me get in a room with Cameron for 5 minutes, and we'll see if he's a sports analyst. I know, I'm sounding like I'm puffing my chest out, but come on. And I understand that's not Cameron's fault. It's ESPN for calling him a sports analyst. Please, stop. Don't let me get started. Kareem was my GOAT, and Jordan, now LeBron. Oh, so you think LeBron is the GOAT? All right. Kareem 3 rings the Lakers. Jordan's first 5 years in the league. Kareem's got 3 most ones. Yes, absolutely. Chosen. If he bulks up, I know I'm still catching up. I'm 12 minutes behind. You're talking about Wemby, right? 80s and all the 90s. Most of the 90s, yes. I can't lie. I watched the World Cup last night and was, all right, J-Rod. That's good. Yes, he did. Can't disagree. Kareem and MJ, 2 different positions. Like, to compare players in the same position would have been best around. Yeah, no, the only reason why I say Kareem, like MJ, as far as like all time, is, I mean, Kareem was, jeez. People forget how great he was. So does the red card that the player got last time in USA is down to play the whole next? Yeah, it is. He's out for the game. That was nonsense. That call. The call was terrible. Thank you, Chosen. I appreciate that. Peace to you too. So he's not going to play, and obviously he's a big striker for US. So look at this. Draymond, not Hall of Fame, is a great puncher. Ask Jordan Poole that. Where did Phil Jackson win as a coach for the Bulls? What did the Bulls win without MJ? What did Scottie win left Jordan? All facts, my opinion. It's true, but the only thing about Phil Jackson that we cannot and will never know is that he got the teams that were already made. Let me see him build a team from scratch. Or maybe not build a team from scratch, but go through it. And you can even say the same to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr, you can say, oh, he's a great coach. Well, yeah, but he inherited Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, etc. Not opinion, yes. What did I think of Rambis? He's a hard-nosed player. Yeah, he can rebound. Not much of a scorer, but, yeah, But it was complimentary on those teams, without question. Trade. Flames, Blake Coleman to the Wild. So Minnesota, they're trying. Oh, you are an Aries. Represent. Same here. But I'm a March Aries, not an April one. I totally agree. Most people under 40, 45 don't even know real good. Coming through the lane. But you got that right. Paris, second all time in games. Yes, he was. That ain't water Jay's drinking. Yes, it is. H2O. Room temp at this point. Ugh. It's very soft, snuggly, and overtly friendly, even when you never knew it. Yeah, it had the same agent too, which helped. I thought Russell was the best team player ever seen. Oh, Bill Russell was the best team player ever seen? Oh, absolutely. Didn't have to score. Oh, you're going to like his answer. I'm sure you already know by now. You're going to love his answer there, Donavis. Because Jordan logo, yeah. I'm a Nike guy. They rush out to buy his shoes, but I respect his game as a Knicks fan. I hear that. And right, as a Knicks fan, you don't want anything associated with Jordan. All right. Got you chosen. Still hearing Matt Chapman rumors. Yeah, now look at that. We're now a month away from the trade deadline, by the way, a month from tomorrow. A few years ago, UCLA sponsored by Jordan on the Jumpman. Whereas, yes, they were always sponsored by Adidas. I hear that. I love it. Good for you, Bio. NBA had doubleheaders in the 50s, early 60s. They would not draw flies. Yes, they did. I remember at the old Garden, not the original Garden, but the Garden on, what was it, 48th and Broadway? No, 49th and 50th. They used to have doubleheaders. I remember. Not that I was there, but yeah, I do recall. Wish you had a phone line or video chat room. Nah, what do you want? You want to talk about stuff? Chosen? What do you want to talk about? Never ask a question. Everyone has a phone. They will be brilliant. Oh, like you want like a two-way sports talk? Listen, the second time I seen you, but if you want to jump on board, what time is it? 1:20? Yeah, I know. I got to let me think about it for a second. Oh, they sent in the head coach. All right. Toronto. If I got rid of everything, I don't have any clothes. That's right. The Michigan man that you are. $1 million question that I had Michael Jordan ended up on the Blazers with Clyde the Glide. Yeah, it would have been an interesting backcourt, that's for sure, Ray. 100%. Is that right? Sidney Green, I believe, is from Brooklyn. Isn't he from Brooklyn? Yeah, drafted by the Bulls. He was on the Knicks for a hot minute, too. Sidney Green. Is he no longer with us? I think he's not. No, I didn't put that in there. Here we go. No, he's still with us. Good. Yeah, he's from Brooklyn. Went to Jefferson. 5th overall pick. Interesting. Lived in the suburbs. So, yeah, because maybe when he was with the Knicks, he probably lived. I know most of the Knicks, they live in Westchester anyway because that's where their practice facility is. Don't forget Jay Reels is Stephen A. Is this Stephen Nagy? Don't forget Jay Reels is Stephen. Oh, are you Stephen Nagy? Oh, jeez. Oh, Bio, I know. I know. The original triple-double. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. We could all do a debate. I'll be the moderator. You know what? That's a good idea. I know. Oh, what's his name talked about that? Matt Noah wanted to do something like that. Sorry. Sorry, Bio says. I'm a kook. I got news for you, Bio. Apology not accepted. We're all kooks. No, I love it. You know me. Please. Love it. Yeah, you know what? I got to schedule that. We'll do a debate. We'll have everybody in here. That'll be fun. Jerry West is the NBA logo. Listen, Jerry West. Guy won a finals MVP on a losing team. I'm talking nowadays, sports really soft, refs not calling proper fouls. Everything is. Yeah, I agree with you. There's definitely a lot of truth in that. I agree. Other than Willie May, Secretariat, my favorite athlete, I kid you not. Well, Secretariat, I mean, geez. It's weird. A few years ago, I watched that on YouTube, the Belmont. Now, it's sad because the Belmont had like 5 horses in the race, which that was a joke. But you could have had 100 horses in that race. Nobody was beating Secretariat. And I got news for you. Secretariat. Stacy, love the Phillies. I'm going to get to that in a second. Hold on. Secretariat. Listen, I know people say it's a horse, it's not an athlete, whatever, but what Secretariat did, I mean, come on. Yeah, exactly. 31 lengths, Belmont. Sign me up for the debate. Definitely not. The novice forgot that. Stacy, Philadelphia Phillies. Are you from Philly? Welcome aboard. Thank you for stopping by. Phillies are playing well. Let me see. Hold on. What time are we at? 1:30? All right. Yeah, just checking time here. I got to be mindful. I could be here all day, and then next thing you know, I got a couple things to do this afternoon, and I'll be scrambling around the rest of the day. Hold on. You know what I'm going to do, people? Hang on a second. Keep your comments flowing. Oh, you're from Philly? All right. How long have you been a Philly fan, may I ask? Belmont regarded as the greatest racehorse ever. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could, yeah. Love back to you, Stace, from New York City. How long have you been a Philly fan? Do you like the Phillies? Do you like the Eagles? Please say you like the Eagles. I have an Eagle fan in the room. This is what I'm going to do, people. Bear with me 1 second. I'm just going to do my closing, but I'm not going to close out. I'm not going to say goodbye just yet. So there's your warning. Keep the comments coming. Oh, look at that. So you with like-minded people, because we got a few 50-somethings in the room, including yours truly. So good. I'm glad you hopped on board. So I guess you got to be Eagles, Flyers, Sixers. I'm sure you're jumping for joy after that trade yesterday. Yes, you're right about that, Val. All right, so guys, hang on 1 second. Let me just do a closeout, and I'll get back to the comments. We can continue going, because I got to do this for editing purposes when it comes to the audio, and I don't want this to continue to go along. So hang tight. Keep it coming. Stand by. That'll do it. Another episode just about in the books. As always, thank you so much for stopping by, carving out precious time out of your day to listen to what it is I have to say about what goes on in the toy department of life called sports. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe, rate, review right here on YouTube and Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast platform that you listen to. Throw me a few stars, write a review, please. It will increase the visibility, not only on YouTube, but also those podcast platforms. As far as those out there who aren't familiar with this podcast, with this channel, etc., this is true sports talk, passionate sports talk. None of this clickbait, rage bait garbage that you may get on other channels or other podcasts. This is made by a lifelong sports fan. For you guys and gals are sports fans, so just remember that. So hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it. And if you want to hit me up with any questions, comments, suggestions, you can do so at the following: Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, the J-Reels Podcast, Twitter, J-Reels1, just a number, Twitch, J-Reels1, just a number, or the old-fashioned way, the J-Reels Podcast at gmail.com. I'll be more than happy to follow up with you guys and gals, because whether you do or do not know, this is what I love to do, people, in the blood and the DNA, talking sports since birth, because as long as I sit in front of this microphone and camera, I promise I will deliver nothing but passion, fire, energy, fury, my thoughts, opinions, critiques, praise, analysis, feelings on anything and everything that happens on the world of the diamond, ice, gridiron, hardwood, golf course, racetrack, tennis court, boxing ring, octagon, you name it. From my lips to your ears, from my heart to your soul, from where I am to wherever you are, the J-Reels Podcast always comes correct, direct, and in full effect. From the South Bronx, the South Beach, the South Center, the South Pacific, and all points beyond, peace, love, and God bless everybody. Enjoy your weekend and enjoy the 4th of July. Be safe out there. Have a ball. Have a blast. Pun intended. And until next time on the J-Reels Podcast, on the flip, baby. All right, back to your comments. Only thing good about Philly cheesesteaks. Yeah. Uh-oh. Eagles, best football. Stacey loves sports. You've come to the right place. You've come to the right place. You are better than most guys on FAN. I love Carton. Yeah, I love Carton and his partner, Big Mac. You know, I have a problem with Big Mac. Something he did the other day, which I watched, and I was, how could I say this nicely? I was a little turned off. Take that back. I was a lot turned off. Glenn, did you watch? It's on YouTube. So for those who are thinking I'm BSing, Carton and McMonagle, I think his name is, they interviewed Wally Backman in studio. And you guys know how much I would love Wally Backman to be the manager of the Mets. But there was a point in the interview, about halfway, where Backman made a reference to the Brewer manager, and he couldn't come up with his name. And while watching this, I'm like, oh, Pat Murphy. Carton, which I'm not surprised. McMonagle, and I get it, they're New York sports-centric, but come on. They've only been in the playoffs the last 2 years. You've only seen the guy in the dugout a million times. He had to go on his phone to look up who the Brewer manager was, and until afterwards said, oh, yeah, Pat Murphy. Come on. Come on. What are we doing here? Milwaukee's been I can see if Milwaukee was the dregs and you could care less. You know, it's like saying, they're playing, like who's the manager of the San Diego Padres? They're playing well. I don't want to pick on them, but, off the top of my head, let me think. Because Bob Melvin left. The manager is a new guy, I know. Or even you want to say Tony Vitello, the guy from San Francisco. All right, I'm not expecting that, but at least the Brewers are relevant. He didn't know who the manager was? Come on. I'll do better than that. Yes, 2 big Laker fans in the room. Yes, the Philly fan is crazy. Oh, they are crazy. And I got on the Philly fan the other day. Did I not? Didn't something come up? Forgot. Everyone's favorite 4th of July dish. I love Big Mac because he loves the Beatles. Oh, is that right? I didn't know that. Go Birds. Favorite 4th of July dish. I guess you have to have a dip of some sort because really, besides hot dogs, hamburgers, barbecue food, I guess a dip of some sort? I don't even know. Because, potato salad. That's a side dish. That's a good one, Bio. I have to think about that. I BS about Hal Morris. Why not anybody else? Do not like net baseball? Oh, I'm a Met fan, if that's what you're wondering. That I am a Met fan. Yeah, Backman only got about 300 for an entire season out the ball in the infield. In fact, that 1 year, what year was that? Was that 86 where he batted 320? I think that was the year. Yes. And could Kyle Schwarber put his name into the home run derby? He'll win that in a heartbeat. Waffle iron. Rack of lamb for barbecue? All right. Hot dogs, burgers. 4th of July is Lizzie Day. Yeah, the Glizzies. Yeah. Got to be barbecue. Yeah, once upon a time. Well, I love barbecue, but. Then obviously you think about the Laker moves. Yeah, I like their moves. Oh, wait a minute. Did you? Oh, wait. Let's get on Stephen A's case. And this was in First Take. I think it's on his show. I saw a clip on YouTube. Bio, did you see the clip? I'll have to send it to you. I'm sure you've probably seen it. Did you see the clip that he said that, how the Lakers are making all these moves, how they're going to win with all these white dudes? What? I can't. He's the worst. Jeez, let me get in a room with that guy. I will eviscerate him. And it's not even a matter of the sports knowledge and all that. It's just the stuff he says, the stuff he repeats, and nobody calls him out on it. I understand it's his show. You're not going to step on his toes, whatever, but that would even make for better TV. It would make for better TV to have an adversary, to have that heel. And if anything, I'd probably be the hero because there's people who watch Stephen A because they can't stand him. And I will be on there, oh, please, the greatest shooter God's ever. Yeah, we know about that. You've only said it 9,000 times. Please, tell us something we don't know. To get to the Fisher-Price sports fan out there. Stop. Schwarber, I can't spell his name. Let me see. You got all, wait, Schwarber. I could talk Draymond Green about him at Bay Area Sports because that's Val. Bay Area. I like the moves for the steps for the future. Yes. Yes, I saw. I mean, how do you call yourself credible if you're going to come out and make a statement like that? I understand it's for clicks, it's viral, but it's stupid. I'd expect that from somebody who's trying to get a channel, not get a channel. Somebody's trying to get traction. Oh, come on. What are we doing? Argue about him in live if we go live and talk, discuss, debate about strokes. Oh, Draymond? I think they called the snow show. Yeah. Is that what they're calling him? Jeez. All right, Val. Gotcha. You know what you're talking about. Oh, thanks, Glenn. I appreciate that. Listen, I wouldn't come on here if I didn't. I wouldn't. And I appreciate you, Glenn, for stopping by. I appreciate everybody. Where's our guy, The Truth? Did he leave? Is he still around? This is why I do this. For the love. And hopefully one day it'll translate to, listen, I understand by doing this, even on YouTube, monetization, getting close. That's why I'm still on with you guys, even well past the 2-hour mark. Usually I've cut it off after 2 hours, but I see I got a bunch of people on. I do have things to do in a little while, so I can't stay on that much longer. Maybe I'll go till 2 o'clock. Maybe a smidge after. We'll see. But yeah, now I'm just trying to be more present, be more not available. So if people are jumping on now, who is this guy? Who's this Jay Reels? What the hell is he talking about? Yeah. But yeah, that's it. And it's independent, which I love because I'm not. And that's not to say if I were to go to, let's just say for argument's sake, ESPN, oh, we like you so much, you want you to come in. Great. But I got to be who I am. I can't be, unless I'm not going to go out there cursing, of course. As it is, I really rarely curse here. Because, you know, I not want to keep it fan friendly, but yeah, to me, I don't want to be one of those hacks. I got to curse, this, MF and this, or flipping that, or blah, blah, blah. And again, every now and again, I'll, you know, if I'm pissed off or whatever. But to me, it's just lowbrow. I mean, that's low hanging fruit to go that route. Come on. But yeah, I got to be me. You want to hire me? You got to take me as it is. You're not going to say, Jay Reels, you got to say Draymond's a Hall of Famer. Oh, okay, I will. Just give me the money. Hell no, sorry. No. Kyle Schwarber becoming Babe Ruth. Listen, Schwarber's a beast, man. Although in October, he hasn't been great. But that guy, he can play on my team any day. I understand it's a DH because he's always been a butcher. Watch that 2015, and Glenn, I know you say you like the Mets. That 2015 NLCS, and Schwarber had a home run off of Matt Harvey in game 2. Schwarber played the outfield. Woo, jeez. I think I could have played the outfield better than he did. A different got to come up with Tom Arnold or Best Damn Sports Show. Anything's about race on ESPN ridiculous. Yeah, it's a joke. Can debate on how the Mets should fire. Well, no, that wouldn't even be a debate unless you got somebody. If there's a Met fan out there that thinks David Stearns should be there, then, oh, geez. You want to talk about a debate? That's going to be must-see TV. I come from a mixed family, no way it talks about it. That's good. Good for you, Glenn. I remember that, Mark. Best Damn Sports Show, period. That was Chris Rose, DeMarco Farr. Ron Darling was on that. Michael Irvin. I didn't really watch it that much. Tom Arnold. I didn't really watch it that much, but I'm aware. Do I do smelling salts? I do not. That's not to say I haven't in the past, but I do not. I love sports since I was children. Since I was a child. Yes, Stace. Yeah, Strahan was there too. Power Man Phillies. Stacey, I'm curious. Did you on YouTube and you saw me pop up and you decided to jump on in, or were you aware? I'm just curious. Schwarbervis, I like this. Oh God, he's butcher. Oh, Dave Kingman again. Kingman, I mean, he played third base. He was third base, left field, right, and then he played first base. Oh, he was a terrible fielder. But Kingman, I mean, Kingman was the epitome of a slugger. That guy hit bombs. I mean, geez, some of those home runs that he hit. But the Cubs, he hit one on the Waveland Avenue. That's ball, I think it's still bouncing somewhere. Yes, Tony V. Miami Marlins. I listen, the Marlins are playing fantastic. I picked them as an over. I thought more of their pitching, and their hitting is, listen, Otto Lopez and Xavier Edwards and Jacob Marcy and Kyle Stowers. They have a good team. I hope they stay together, but you know what will happen? They'll stay together, they'll have a big season, and they'll break them up. Oh, you seen it before? Oh, thanks, Stace. I appreciate that. Wait, hang on. Right here. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you subscribed. I hope you like what you hear. Again, Monday and Thursdays at 11 a.m., 11 till now. Look at this. It's almost 2 o'clock, and I'm still doing this. Wednesdays, 12 noon. So, yeah, please, if you can, subscribe. Tell your family, friends, foes, frenemies. All of them. Strahan, a news guy. I know. Who would have thought? Yeah, he's big time. Kingman hit more fire. I know. He did. I remember one time, Shea Stadium, he hit one out over the bullpen. I believe hit the windshield of a bus. Kingman had immense power. And I loved him. I mean, that was right. He got traded to the Mets from San Francisco in 75. He played that 75 to 77, was part of, unfortunately, Midnight Massacre. Where, yeah, he was the guy you rooted for on the team during that time frame. And Seaver, of course, you know, when he pitched. But as far as position players, 76, Mazzilli came up at 75, but played on the Mets in 76. I love Mazzilli. That was my guy, especially late 70s. But Kingman, I love too. Because he was the one threat in the lineup. Yeah, he batted 210 and struck out a zillion times. But when he got into one, yeah, Reggie too. Who could forget? All-Star Game, 71. Doc Ellis. Even the home run, the third home run he hit, sorry, Bio, off of Charlie Huff into the black. Dead center. Had to be 450 feet or whatever that was. Good one there, Mark. Adam Dunn. Immense power. The crazy thing about Adam Dunn, he was such an anomaly. Dunn was a guy that would hit 40 home runs in his sleep, walk over 100 times, but he'd strike out almost 200 times. So he had a good on base, but he struck out, and he batted like 210. Grew up in Philly. Yes. What part of Philly? South? Curious. Yes, Richie Allen. He was another guy who had immense power. Not that I remember watching, but they said he hit a home run in the upper deck of Shea Stadium, which I know Tommy Agee did. But to hit a home run in the upper deck of Shea Stadium was not easy. And Cardinals, Phillies, White Sox, MVP. Nah, rest in peace. Sorry on the phone, should have been fine. Yeah, he should have been. Yeah, Dunn is another butcher. Yeah, you had a lot of those guys. Rob Deere was another big power guy. Adam Dunn. Richie Sexton was another gun. He of the Brewers, Diamondbacks. More modern. Russell Brandon was another guy. I remember Russell Brandon hit a home run when he was with the Mariners. Also played for Cleveland. He hit a home run in the upper deck of the new Yankee Stadium, which, as short of a porch that is, Upper Deck Yankee Stadium, that was a bomb. Yes, he did. I remember that. Pete Incaviglia, that's another one. Going by when he played for Texas, Philadelphia. Of course, Cecil Fielder. Hit one out of County Stadium in Milwaukee. Obviously over the roof of Tiger Stadium. We could go on forever with these guys. Jay Real still wants David Stearns fired. He's a Nets or a Mets fan. Haven't not been doing well. You got that right there. All right, Stacy. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Hopefully you come back. Storm and Gorman Thomas. He was another guy, though. Another one. 48 home runs and bat 210. Had big-time power. Then one year, he led the league in home runs, I believe. Didn't he hit 48? No, I may have him mixed up with Mike Schmidt hit 48 and 80. Hold on. Yeah, but Gorman Thomas, another one. Power, home runs for days, but batted 220 lifetime, I think. Let me see. And funny, he only had 268 home runs in his career. Yeah, 225. No, he had 45 that one year. 79. 45, 123. Struck out 175 times, batted 244. He had 30 home runs at least. He had 40 once only. 31, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. You know what? If you would ask me how many career home runs he would have had, I would have said he would have had over 300. But he had 268. Yeah, that era here, 78 to 83, 45, 38, 21, but that was a strike year. 39, 22, and led the league in home runs twice. Mickey Tettleton, yeah, switch hitter with the A's, was a Yankee farmhand too. The thing about Tettleton, though, he had power, but he wasn't a big-time home run hitter. Let's look Tettleton up. .245 career. Yeah, I mean, he hit 30, 4 times? That's more than I thought. No, listen, I'm not knocking him. He definitely was a power hitter, but for whatever reason, when I think of sluggers, I think of, yeah, Tettleton doesn't come to mind. If I'm not mistaken, didn't he switch hit? Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was a Yankee farmhand, and he went to Oakland. Yeah, Baltimore, Detroit. Yeah, he had from 91. Yeah, 91 to 95 were his big-time power numbers. 3189, 263, 3283, 238, 32 110, 245, 3278. No, listen, he had pop. When I think of sluggers, I think of guys at 40. Let's look at him done. Ooh, this laptop is burning. Done 462 home runs. No, that's a slugger. I mean, look at the home run numbers. Look at the strikeout totals, too. 195, 168, 194, and then later on with the White Sox, 222. He led the league in strikeouts with 222. That has to be an all-time single-season record. Maybe somebody has broken that. And then 105 walks. He's walked over 100 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. How can you have that good of an eye and strike out that many times? Dunn hit 40 home runs or more. 1, 2, 3. Now, he hit 40 on the nose 4 straight years. 05, 4101, 4092, 4106, 4100. Then later on with the White Sox was 4196. Had over 100 RBIs 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 times. 46 was his career high in 04. And that was the first year at the Great American Small Park. They changed the name now, right? I'm sure they did. I'm sure Mark Salmons can answer that. So, yeah. That's Adam Dunn for you in a nutshell. What else we got? Willie Stargell. Oh, yeah, Hall of Famer. Yep. Jimmy Wynn, also another guy. Colt 45s. Also played on the Yankees, too. Braves, I believe. Yeah, 1 year he was with the Braves. Yeah, Colt 45s, Houston. Dodgers for 2 years. 291 career home runs. Only hit 30 twice, though, but he had big power numbers, though. Yeah, what was another name you guys had up there? Kevin Mitchell. Strawberry on my side, yeah. Oh, my God, Bio. I can't believe you brought up this name. Yeah, Stargell. What do you have? Stargell. I'll get to that one. I got to tell you a story about Eric Karros. What does Stargell have? Didn't he have? He had over 500 home runs, did he not? Oh, 475. That's right. Stargell. MVP in 79, as you know, with Keith Hernandez. 48, 44. No, Stargell was great. Pops, number 8. Played his whole career in Pittsburgh. You know what's so funny about Eric Karros? I'm looking that up now. That's your favorite all-time player? I was never a fan of Eric Karros. I don't know why. It was just something about him. I don't know. Was a rookie of the year. Yep. That's when the Dodgers had all the rookie of the years back then. 92 was Karros. 93 Piazza. 94, I believe, was Mondesi. Before that, they had 4 straight rookie of the years. Sutcliffe, Valenzuela. Did Steve Sax win Rookie of the Year? I don't know if he did. I believe that Pedro Guerrero. No, it was Guerrero. Hold on. They won four years in a row. They had the Rookie of the Year. I mentioned his name earlier. Steve Howe. May have been him too. I don't even know. Let me go back. Rookie. They had a ton of Rookie of the Years, the Dodgers. NL Rookie of the Year history. Here we go. Which is the Jackie Robinson Award, by the way. 79. Sutcliffe. Steve Howe. Yep. Fernando and Steve Sax. There you go. At first, I didn't think it was Howe, but they won 4 in a row. And then it's funny, and after that, the Mets won the next 2. Strawberry and Gooden. And then the Cardinals won the next 2 after that. Vince Coleman, Todd Worrell. And then in the early 90s, it was Karros, Piazza, Mondesi, and Hideo Nomo. And Todd Hollingsworth. They won 5 straight. Jeez Louise. Mondesi had a great arm, right field. I mean, Piazza's Piazza. Hideo Nomo threw 2 no-hitters, 1 in each league. And the first place he threw it was in a place where you thought absolutely nobody would get a no-hitter. Bio, I know you know where that no-hitter was. I don't have to tell you. But Karros, let me look up his numbers. Guys, 110 outside, and Jay Reel's doing a show in no AC. You're right. I'm doing it with a fan. And where's my poor puppy? She's probably in the bathroom somewhere. Oh, I see her. She's in the bedroom. Waffle Iron, you're the man. Thank you for acknowledging that. All right, bye. I was looking up Karros. Hold on. Karros. 284 homers, 1,027 RBIs, 268 lifetime. But no, I mean, he did put up big numbers. Rookie of the year. 32-105. All right, his rookie of the year was 2088, 257, 92. 93 was 2380, 247. Also, Adrian Beltre was a Dodger, too. I don't think he won Rookie of the Year, though. His final year in LA, he hit 48 home runs. That I recall. And remember, he came up as a 19-year-old. 32-105. 94, the strike year. 1446, 266. 95, this is Karros. 32-105, 298. That's his best year by far. Then 34, 111, 260, 31, 104, 266, 23, 87, 296, 34, 112, 304. That is his best year right there. 99. Dodgers in 99. Was Sheffield in Atlanta at that time? No, he was with the Dodgers then. 99. 99 was '99. Braves. Were the Astros in the playoffs that year? I think they were, right? Wasn't that Randy Johnson? No, that was 98. Mets, Braves. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah. Diamondbacks, Mets, Braves. I'm missing one more team. It's going to kill me. Mets beat the Diamondbacks. Who did the Braves? Did they play the Dodgers that year? Jeez, I'm drawing blanks. Yeah, because then the Braves played the Mets, lost to them in the 6th game down in Atlanta. Yeah, no, he was a good player. I don't know, it was just something about him I didn't like. Nothing personal. It was one I was like, eh. But no, Carroll's, no, he was a very good Major League player. That I definitely can't disagree with. Most considered home run hitter, Hank Aaron. He played at Wrigley. Oh, yeah, well, Wrigley, when the wind's blowing out, forget it. Riverfront. Oh, yeah. And I actually been to Riverfront, not to watch baseball, football. Wrigley, yes. Veteran Stadium had a star in his long shot. Stargell, that is. Yeah, that's right. I do remember that. No, Eric Carroll's. Glenn, not a fan. Didn't Carroll suck with the Mets? He never played for the Mets. I think he went to the Cubs after that. Did he not? Hold on. Yeah, he went to the Cubs and then Oakland. I didn't even realize it was Oakland. Yeah, 40 games in 04. Ron Say. Todd, yes, very good. Todd Hollinsworth. Ron Say, the Penguin, number 10. Sacks. But the thing about Sacks, he was actually good early in his career, but he got the yips when he got to the Yankees. No, it was toward the end with the Dodgers because he was on that 88 team, and then he went to the Yankees and forget about it. He was shot. Even yes. Yeah, I agree with that. Dave Parker was great. Rest in peace, Hall of Famer. Yep. I believe last year, if not. Was it not last year? Dodgers had Dynasty and Too bad Atlanta was there also. Yeah, no, Dodgers were good. They were. Yeah, especially in the 90s. Could not throw out runners, should have been a DH later in his career. Yeah, he was not a great defensive catcher, as we know. He's in the Hall of Fame because of his bat, but hey. Pete Rose, doubt he will, should be in the Hall of Fame. Nah, he will. Carroll's career award, 10.4, yikes. I know, I've never been into war, Glenn. I'm not a war guy, but no, I understand. Writer's going to look at that. Never played for the Mets. That's all right, Glenn. You're forgiven. You know what, guys? I am going to sign off. I want to stay on, but I got to get stuff to do. It's after 2 o'clock here on the East Coast. I know it's 1,000 degrees. I got to turn the air on. Waffle Iron, a.k.a. Minnesota Fats, Tatsuya Mai, Fuqua. Oh, yeah, Piazza. I mean, I know he had good years with the Mets, but his best years were with the Dodgers. I mean, the guy batted .363 as a catcher. Wasn't he MVP in 96? Rookie of the year in 93, as we know. Let's look Piazza now, sign off. I believe it's the MVP in 96. Let's see. Widescreen view. Widescreen, please. No, he was a runner-up in 96. That's funny. Piazza didn't win an MVP there, right? Who was the MVP in 96? Wait, I don't have to look at it. Oh, Ken Caminiti. Rest in peace. Ken Caminiti was the MVP that year, San Diego. Yeah, he had a big-time year, Caminiti. 41-30, 326. That's – but here's Piazza's numbers. 36, 105, 336. I mean, come on. Well, no, I can see why Caminiti. And the crazy thing about Ken Caminiti, I hate to end this on this note. Ken Caminiti, for whatever the reason, I know he had demons in his life. I don't know who he got involved with, but he actually died here in this borough, in the Bronx. I guess he got involved with some people after his playing career and got in a mix. And I believe he suffered cardiac arrest in the Bronx, which is wild. Died in 2004. Wow, was that long ago? Let's see. Death. Substance abuse and death. Yeah, here we go. In the early afternoon of October 10, 2004, Caminiti was in an apartment of a friend in the Bronx, New York. After being in a bathroom to have a speedball of cocaine and heroin, Caminiti came out and collapsed on the floor at 3:36 p.m. 911 call was made while Caminiti was going into cardiac arrest. He died at Lincoln Hospital on 149th Street. No, it's not on the concourse. It's off the concourse. 3rd Avenue, I believe. 6:45 p.m. Preliminary news reports indicate he died of a heart attack. Autopsy results stated that the acute intoxication due to the combined effects of cocaine and opiates caused his death. Coronary artery disease, cardiac hypertrophy. I can't pronounce this word. Hypertrophy, I believe. Enlarged heart. Crazy. Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Media coverage of Caminiti's death was almost completely overshadowed by that of Christopher Reeve, a.k.a. Superman, who also died in New York on the same day. That is kind of reminiscent. And we just had this, last week, where Michael Jackson died on June 25th, 2009, the same day that the iconic, and it's not to say Michael Jackson wasn't, the same day that the iconic Farrah Fawcett also died. But of course, it's Michael Jackson. So can't believe I'm ending that on a bad note. There it is. Died in the Bronx. Some women in the Bronx, that's what happened, I believe. Very good, Glenn. Hit it right in the head. Let me get your final comments and I'll sign off. Yeah, Piazza. War is awesome. On the various relievers. It does. Closers. There's a legit question. It's not me throwing shade. Do you think Steve Cohen actually cares about your organization? I understand he owns it, but they actually care. He doesn't care as much as he should. Because think about this, Ray. For all that bluster, when he got the team, it was officially his, and he talked about how, we're going to win a World Series in 5 years, and we're going to be a winning town, and blah, blah, blah. Crickets. So, yeah. I think he cares more about that casino as if he needs more money. Please. There are a lot of stories about Eric House and Mike Brown's partner. Oh, is that right? Yeah, I heard that they hung out a lot back then. I'm sure they're great stories. Yep, he did buy a lot of drugs. Steroids and crack, yeah. Yes, Bio, happy 4th to you and a great sports day. Thank you, Bio. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys, for sticking with me throughout the whole 3 hours plus. I truly appreciate it. Stay cool out there. Thank you so much. Hopefully you hop on board Monday. The next live podcast coming your way. Enjoy. Stay cool. Stay safe. Until next time, on the flip. Who the F goes to the Bronx other than people that live in the Bronx? I don't know, Glenn, but I guess Ken Caminiti did. And so, sadly for him, his fate was sealed. Thank you, Glenn. I appreciate you. I do. Thanks for sticking around. Hopefully I'll see you there. Come